Oh, you'll be delighted and somewhat surprised to know that you can now own Whose Views merchandise. Yes, a range of mugs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, cuddly toys, a cheer please, and other goodies, all putting official Doctor Who merchandise to shame. It's now available from the Whose Views shop. You can find it on the store tab on the channel or by scanning that squiggly thing there. And now it's time for headlines with JT and the Whotastic panel.
Here we go again, Who viewers. Yes, it's Sunday. It's the 24th of November. It's Who's Views, and this is your big Sunday show. It is lovely to see you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Yes, the big show itself, it is headlines. And of course, it's the third in our 3-day extravaganza celebrating the Doctor's 61st anniversary. Today, we've got lots coming up, which deals with its present and its future, because have you heard? The BBC doesn't have any hit shows, allegedly. Doctor Who is apparently in safe hands. Christmas is on the way. You'll all be delighted to hear me tell you that, but it is on the way. And yes, we are going to be talking about the news that broke yesterday. The War Games is on the way in colour. Good grief. Right, let's get straight into this. As ever, I am absolutely delighted to see you all. We want to know all your opinions on all your views on your stories that were coming up tonight, but I also want to hear the views of these two. I've got third Doctor Ian, and busy as well is Paul.
It's much better in black and white, I'm telling you that now, okay? So, keep your physical media, folks. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, we are going to be coming to that in a minute. But as usual, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone that's been getting in touch with us here at Whose Views this week. And this week, I want to say a special thank you to Lex Kane, to Simon Leavesley, to Laura. Hello, Laura. To Sam, to Steve Hinley, to Eddie Day Riley, to Mark Milford, to Rodney Strickler, to Tony Farrell, Ronald Sapp, to Amanda B. Welcome to Whose Views, Amanda. Matt the Silent Wee Music King, Cody W1, I Love to Be, Derek Hart, Mugcrab3420, and also to Johnny D. It is lovely to hear from you. Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah, keep it all coming. You know the address by now. If you would like to get in touch with you, you know the address as well, guys, don't you?
Yes.
whosviews1@gmail.com.
That's the one.
Done. It's whosviews1@gmail.com. Ian gets 5 brownie points for that one. Putting them
There's
on
a pencil on the way, Ian.
whosviews1@gmail.com. If you want to get in touch with us, you are very, very welcome, and it's always good to hear. I just want to reiterate as well, it does take me a while to get back to you, but I will get back to you eventually. I also want to say, guys, as well, do you remember on our Friday show a couple of nights ago, we did the bestest telly theme tune ever, didn't we, in the world ever? And Carwyn joined us in the chat. Carwyn Morris was in the chat with us, and he was telling us that his mum had worked at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop at the time the Doctor Who theme was being developed. Do you remember?
He did,
well,
yes.
I want to say a huge thank you to Carwyn and also Carwyn's mum for sending us a picture. Now, this is a lovely, lovely picture. Look at the old BBC van there. Isn't that lovely?
Lovely, yeah.
That is wonderful.
It's a fantastic days gone by there, everybody. Look at that.
Yeah.
But this is, I'll just point this out. And thank you so much for emailing me again, Carwyn. A really, really lovely picture here. This is from left to right, Beverly, which is Carwyn's mum, Tina and Hillary, and they are all alive and well and still good friends today.
Wonderful.
Superb.
Wonderful.
Isn't that lovely to know? So, all right, girls. This is you, girls. He's actually sent us a story as well, everybody. I might just tell you this quick story here. And he's actually going to, his mum said, why would anybody be interested in pictures? Because she doesn't, you know, that generation, they don't understand that we are interested in all this. It's a bit of history for us. And he said, Carmen was saying that his mother is quite nonchalant about her time at the BBC, and that she doesn't sometimes realize what was an everyday thing to her, just the day at the office, is quite unusual for everyone else. So Carmen said that sometimes she'd talk about lunchtimes and say something like Paul McCartney popped in looking for the canteen, and then she'll go carry on talking about the macaroni cheese she used to have. And Carmen would be like, what? Hang on a second, just dial
Let's
back
go back
a second.
to Paul McCartney.
And according to his mum, what actually happened during the first recording of the infamous theme tune, as we know, they used to play with weird sounds and electronic sounds and swoops and noises and all these wonderful sounds that nobody had heard before back at the time. Yeah. Well, apparently on the day that the girls heard various things, it was a particular night, and they decided to have a bit of fun while waiting to wrap up. And what they did is they got a Ouija board out, which was quite popular in the 60s here in the UK. So they got a Ouija board out. And then they were doing things like, is anybody there? And then there was this low rumbling and a haunting shrill moaning coming from one of the shows, which was the Doctor Who theme being queued up for a recording. And then the rhythm started, went on for quite a bit before the main melody came in. But according to Carwyn, the girls said the damage was already done. They had their coats on, and the Ouija board was in the bin, and they were that.
Well, it is a very spooky theme. It really is, yeah.
Traumatizing people before it was even transmitted.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Yeah, scare the buggers. That's exactly.
I would hope that's when they knew, guys, that they were onto a hit. Absolutely fantastic. So again, a huge thank you to Carwyn and Carwyn's mum and the girls for allowing us to show that picture there. How lovely. And I'm so glad they're all happy and healthy and still together and having a laugh, I bet. Because
can I mention something about the theme? The theme.
Yep.
I think George mentioned prior to the show about one of the original cover versions, and I found out who it was. Remember, I kept banging about Jeff Love, but the other one, the first one, was Eric Winston and his orchestra.
Eric
and it's
Winston.
even worse than the Jeff Love one, but it's worth hearing. It's good. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. Paul loves the Jeff Love one.
It's all right. I like it, Paul. I'm with you,
the
mate.
Jeff Love one or the Eric Winston
one?
I
said that I thought it might be good for one of the Cushing films if they made it more.
Yeah. It's better than some of what's his name? The new guy. What's his name? I've forgotten his name. What's his name? He does the music now.
No idea.
Murray, what's his face? Yeah.
Murray Gold. Can I just correct myself as well? It's Tina. It's Tina in the picture. That is Carwyn's mum. He's just told me in the chat. No, Tina's my mum. So happy. Thank you, Tina. Tina is Carwyn's mum. There we go. So there we are. So it was in the picture. There was Beverly, Tina, who's Carwyn's mum, and Hillary. Hello, girls. Nice to see you all. Hope you are all well. Thank you to Digby Strawbridge there for your super chat. Please don't let the Morons butcher the war games. They'll insert that stupid fugitive woman doctor into the story, The Fools. Now, this has been a big conversation since yesterday, hasn't it? About will they do it? Lex Kane even got in touch with me earlier today saying, are they going to do this? I bet they're going to do this. Lex, calm down. Hopefully you are all right. We are going to be talking about that in a minute because it has been a topic, shall we say, just a topic. But thank you for that one, Debbie. We're coming to the war games in just a second. Nibbles is saying to us, happy 300 episode, boys. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. This particular show is the 300th show that we've done here on Who's Views. That's a bit of an achievement. So thank you all for being with us. I'm really chuffed about it as well. So thank you so much. What else we got here as well? Lots coming through for you, Carwyn, for the picture there. Andy is saying that is a great picture. John Mason is saying it's a nice picture as well, because it is. It's lovely, isn't it? He's also saying it's fantastic. Great picture from Julie Ann. Wonderful picture from Mark. John is also saying 3 knockout ladies. Yeah, they look like the sort of girls you would want to have fun with back then, wouldn't you? They look like they would have a laugh. Marjorie is saying a great picture of 3 lovely women. Noodle arms. Again, look at all this, Carwyn. This is for you. Very good picture. This is for you and the girl, your mum and the girls. What a fab photo, says Julie Wendy. Wonderful piece of history and a blast from the past, says Stephen Braddock, with a picture there of the second Doctor. What else are we doing here? Hey fellas, says Adrian James, how's it happening today? We've got lots happening today. We do have a fabulous big show for you coming up. Wonderful
It's quite
photo.
appropriate. There's a black and white picture there as we're going to talk about colorizing some black and white lovely material, you know.
Yeah. You'd think it was planned, wouldn't you, Paul?
You think it was planned? Yes. Is it planned?
You would think it was planned. Wonderful photo, says Paul Stenterford. Absolutely. And Stephen also saying, what a wonderful story. Rose is with us. Hello, Rose. Hi, hello, and good evening, afternoon, and morning, wherever in the universe you are. Big thanks, and hello, Who's Views. Lovely to see you, Rose. Great to see you. Also, hello to Kirsty and Garbage, who are in the chat with us as well, making sure everybody is fine.
Legends.
Mudcrab is saying that's already a better story than the modern audience. War games. Lots of comments there, so it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, brilliant. Thank you, guys. All that for you, Carmen. And again, thank you so much. And yeah, if you do manage to get any more, send them over if your mum's happy with that. And yes, of course, we will talk about them and show them and just appreciate their stories at the time. Brilliant. We've also got here from Nibbles. Hello, chat, and I hope everyone had a lovely Doctor Who day yesterday. Well, hopefully you were all with us yesterday evening, because we did our anniversary Legends show yesterday, didn't we, guys? Where we talked about how the anniversaries of the past were all celebrated and the various things from the Radio Times 10th anniversary special up to the present day, where there isn't very much, to be quite honest. But there we go. There we go. Yeah, so great. Well, I've tried to put it off. But we can't really, can we? As Domgo was saying to me, on the 23rd of December, you can watch the War Games in glorious shitovision. So that brings me very nicely on, Domgo. Thank you very much. To the news that broke yesterday on the 23rd of November from BBC Studios. I know, of course, all the people at Bad Wolf, I would imagine, as well. But yes, they have gone and done it. The War Games is on the way in colour. They've done it again. They've done a Daleks in colour. This is now the War Games in colour. They never learn, do they? They're not listening, obviously, and they're not learning. All right, let's have a look at the story first, and then we'll have a chat with it. This was what appeared on the social media platforms and, of course, the website yesterday. Second Doctor Adventure, the War Games, to return in full colour. Classic Doctor Who story, The War Games, to be brought to life in stunning new colorization to air on BBC4 and iPlayer on the 23rd of December. It's time to step into the excitement of the War Games once again, as one of the Doctor Who's most classic tales is to receive a spectacular new colorization. Originally aired in 1969, the War Games marked the end of an era for the second Doctor, played by Patrick Troughton, following him and his companions Zoe and Jamie as they land in a battlefield that appears to be a World War I military zone. But all is not as it seems. They soon discover that soldiers from different historical periods have been abducted and are being manipulated in a cruel game. As they work to uncover the mystery behind the warlord and his twisted experiments, the Doctor faces one of his most difficult challenges. For the first time, these original episodes have been meticulously colorized and enhanced with updated visual effects, edited into a new 90-minute feature-length experience to appeal, here we go, to today's modern audiences. Let's just remember that bit again, shall we? It's going to appeal to today's modern audiences. It continues. With updated sound and a new score, this newly updated version of the War Games offers both fans and newcomers even more ways to watch the much-loved classic story. Is anyone smelling hypocrisy here? In addition, the episode will also feature the second Doctor's never-before-seen regeneration into the third Doctor, John Pertwee. So I think that is putting to rest the concerns that many of us had yesterday. In addition, the episode will also feature the second Doctor's never-before-seen regeneration to the third Doctor, alongside recovered footage not seen since the original broadcast. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Of course, Russell T. Davies had to get in on the act here, and here he is. Russell T. Davies, showrunner, said, from the day I arrived back on Doctor Who, why is it everything's from the day he arrived back on Doctor Who? Have you noticed this? Another running theme from the T. Davies here. From the day I arrived back on Doctor Who, this was the plan. To colorize old stories and bring them back to life. And on Doctor Who Day itself, i.e. the 23rd of November, it's great to announce this, celebrating the show's wonderful heritage with an all-time classic. It looks so vivid and new. And for fans of black and white, the story in its original form will stay on BBC iPlayer, so everyone wins. I actually watched this transmit in 1969 at 6 years old, terrified of the Roman soldiers, fascinated by villains with glinting spectacles, and in awe of the Doctor's brand new origin. Oh, here we go. Now, fans old and new can enjoy it all over again. This special episode is the second time that a classic Doctor Who story has been colorized following the Daleks in 2023, which was updated to commemorate the 60th anniversary of the franchise. And all I can think of is, what would the Doctor think?
I'm with him. Yes.
Yeah. Well, I've got many concerns about this, but let's break this down. The new modern audience, there's the one first concern, and then there's this bit here. Look, it looks so vivid and new, and for fans of black and white, the story in its original form will stay on BBC iPlayer. Now, that to me is a massive message to say, this version you lot will not like. It's another thing that's not for you. This is for our new mythical, and we're desperately going to try and seek it and find this mythical audience. It's for them. It's for the minority again. That's what I'm getting from this.
The interesting thing I get from this, particularly, they did the Daleks, and it was done, and not many people liked it. You know, we all hated the desecration of the original and the editing and the music, etc. But if it was that bad in terms of the response to it, why are they doing another one? I don't understand. Why did they do a second one?
Because they're not listening.
Yeah,
they bury their heads, don't they? They are insistent that what they're doing is right and is good. Therefore, it doesn't matter if almost 100% of people don't like it. They will still insist that almost 100% of people are wrong and that they are right, because they exist in that little bubble and they are complete narcissists.
Yes. And whether or not, you know, they've edited it or colorized it, the new audience don't want to watch it, do they? So why are they making it in the first place? It's daft.
Exactly. Again, they're believing that nonsensical thing, which was all about these alleged reports that show business gets, that the TV industries get, the producers get, which say, oh, people today have the attention span of a gnat. So therefore, you've got to actually just make sure that everything like that is, you know, it's fast paced and it's this and that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Why should you? And also, they're listening to too many of these people, like certain members of that very woke Time team that the Doctor Who magazine hired and then fired very quickly after the Talons of Wayne Chang. But that was the writing on the wall for all of us looking at this now. Yeah. All that nonsense was the start of these idiot wokeists coming into the show and saying, oh my God, everything's ist and phobe and art. And they've been listening to these idiots and idiots like Crystal Meth and all that sort of stuff, you know, and there's too much of this. You know, as Bill Lowry's saying to us here, guys, will the modern audience, all five of them, be interested?
No.
There's no characters in the war games that appeal to the audience that Bad Wolf are making the show for. There's no men masquerading as women, dressing up as aliens or gods.
Apart from the Romans, they've got skirts on and everything. That might work.
If you want to stretch the point, but you know what I mean. There's no trans characters. There's no men kissing men with deep tongue action. There's no women doing the old scissor action. There's none of that. There's no beds in the console room. There's none of that. There's no lesbians. It's just a damn good story, which of course they've cut out about 60% of to fit down to a 90-minute running time.
Absolutely.
So, you thought the Daleks was hard to follow. What's this going to be like?
Well, you know, added to which it had quite a convoluted plot, and you, over 10 episodes, you really had to concentrate to know what's going on. So the soap dodging puddings that they appeal to aren't going to be of the mindset to follow the story anyway. You know, there'll be, how many recaps will they be?
Yeah.
Let's say, do you remember when we went back to the American Civil War zone, and it'll be cut back to a scene that we've already seen, and then you know,
that's
just like
point.
With the Daleks.
It's a great point. It's a great point. Yeah, you've got a point there. But the fact is, as well, if that's what they do on this one, they are wasting time because they've cut. How many hours is it around about the War Games? It's 10 episodes, isn't it? 10, 25-minute episodes. At one point, it was the longest Doctor Who story ever. So there we go. So it's what, 30 hours or something like that, let's say. Is that right?
It's about 4 hours, yeah, something like that. Yeah. It's a long time. Yeah.
Sorry, 4 hours. What am I talking about? Anyway, so we've got that. 3 hours, I was thinking. So yeah, say 4 hours then. So they've cut it down to 90. How much of the story then? I mean, that's so much of the story they're cutting out. So what are they trying to do? Why do it? Why do something like this into 90 minutes and try and sell it to the minority audience that they have, when they could have just coloured all 10 episodes and put it onto a disc for the likes of us, the proper fans? Because I've said it before and I'll say it again, this version is our Doctor Who. Go away, leave it alone, or if you're going to colour it, colorise it episode correctly, in order, and bring it out and name it at us, the grown-ups who will buy it. And go and mess around with your own version of Doctor Who. Go mess around with your drag queens and your pronouns and your left-wing ideologies, but leave ours alone, because your viewers, the minority that you have watching your awful, awful show, are not interested in proper Doctor Who.
No.
But that's the thing. Who's going to buy it? There's no one to buy it because they've irritated the fan base so massively. We don't want to buy it. We don't want it. So
exactly,
and their target audience don't buy it.
Yeah.
They don't buy anything.
Yes. No, especially when apparently this thing will be released early in 2025 on the usual formats now: Blu-ray, DVD, and Steelbook. And the Steelbook, from what I'm hearing, is going to be around about $49.99. Now that's just a rumor.
If they're going to do the rest of the story, another 8 episodes, that'd be great. Then.
Nibbles is with us as well as everybody else. A lot of chat going on. Keep it coming. I'll try and keep up with you. I'm surprised they didn't pick Tomb of the Cyberman to be colorized, and that was the rumor. It was going to be either Tomb of the Cyberman or the War Games. There was a rumor going around for quite a while now that it would be one of the two. I think the Tomb of the Cyberman is too problematic.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain character in there that they won't want to have in there. If you think about it. Legion of James is saying to us, 244 minutes into 90 minutes, new score, no thanks. Daleks was enough for me. It was just an awful mess. Ron, hello, Ron. What's that? Did Jurgles, nice to see you. Welcome. I don't mind it in full colour, but it has to be the whole story. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Graham is saying to us, I didn't watch the Daleks in colour, and I have no interest in watching a butchered War Games in colour either. Fair play to anyone who likes these, but nah, it's not for me. And that's the point, isn't it? It's not going to be for the majority of us, because we lived through that awful Daleks thing. When it turned into Benny Hill, I had to switch it off.
Yeah.
John Mason is saying, I won't be getting it. I cancelled my Daleks after I saw it. How many of us did, John? I remember last year we were on this show and we were talking, and we'd all said, we just press the button to cancel it. And now it's not a big seller. We know it's not a big seller. Woodhouse122, hi to you. The editing will most likely be even crappier than the Daleks in colour. And Carwin, I hate it. It's oversaturated, and I don't understand replacing FX for bad CGI. Why make a CGI TARDIS look like it's wobbling on a string? It looks rough.
Exactly. They just keep replacing what they think are better effects with worse effects. It's incredible. It really is.
And adding new stuff, because there is that scene with one of the warlords, Sidrats, flying through space. You never saw that at all.
I didn't mind that, to be honest. I thought that was all right. But compared to the TARDIS one,
that they've created to put into a story, isn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't necessary.
It's not true to the original.
No, it's not. And this is why they're taking out bits and pieces and they're looking at it. And we all know who's editing this again. It's BC himself yet again, because they haven't learned, they haven't listened. And as you said, Ian, we're all the ones that are ismphobes. They're all in the right. Your days are coming to an end. I can tell you this, you lot. You better start listening, because when it does turn, and the pendulum is swinging right now, I am convinced, when it does turn, you lot are not going to have an audience, and your show is doomed. We all know it. We can see it coming, and you're not coming. You're not getting on board with it. Bedweir's with us. Hi, Bedweir. Cutting down 10 episodes into 90 and adding more material is madness. Yeah. And Eddie wants to know, how can they condense 10 episodes into just 90 minutes? A quarter into a pint pot to pander to an audience with the attention span of a Cocker Spaniel. And Kirsty in the chat is saying, stop appealing to modern audiences. Love a modern member. Yeah. It's not there either, is it?
What's this recovered footage?
Ah,
we're going to talk about that later on. You want to talk about it now?
no, you can talk about any time you
I'd
want.
heard that they found stuff at the BFI. I think it's better film prints of some of it, and it's been treated. I think that's what it is. I think, but I don't. I think it's missing footage. It's newer, better condition footage. I think.
Okay. See, I was going to say to you guys, where's this come from? Because I don't remember. Thank you all for your chats. Keep them coming. I don't remember Terence or Barry or Pertwee or anybody talking about missing footage of the war games, because Pertwee obviously wasn't there anyway, but he would have known from Pat.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I was thinking, oh, what does that mean? What is that? Because this is a shock to all of us, isn't it? Missing foot. What are you talking about?
It's probably trying to make it sound more interesting than it actually is, to be honest, trying to sell it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I thought it's all part of the marketing gimmick to get us to look at this thing.
Yeah,
you know?
Trying to create a hook, aren't they?
It seems to
be.
What
the point that they're missing is that the war games were supposed to bring Doctor Who to an end.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was supposed to be it. There was no formal regeneration scene like you saw with Hartnell into Troughton for a reason. There was no actor. That was it. It was done. And they just could not replace it. So they gave it one extra year and in came Pertwee and the rest was history. And that's pretty much fact as I understand it, because that's from Barry Letts, that's from Terence Dix, that's from Derek Sherwin, that's from all sorts. So we can pretty much take that as read. Doctor Who was dead at that point. Obviously way more alive than it is now, because even at its lowest episodes, it was still beating what we've just been served up this year. But you know,
and still to an extent beating what was opposite on the ITV network. And I know it was early days, but it was. You know, it was. It had a fan base.
I think the tragedy of this edit, one of the tragedies will be you're going to lose a lot of the lovely character stuff. I mean, why are you cutting out lots of lovely Patrick Troughton and Wendy Padbury and Fraser Hines stuff, particularly because it's all fabulous, and all the great characters that go through the story? I mean, like Rudolph Walker and people like that, they'll all be lost in the mix. I bet
totally. This is the problem. I mean, the War Games is a proper old-fanish story. You have to start at the start and you have to finish at the finish. And whether you like it or not, and yes, okay, we all know there's bits of padding in it. We know that, but it's part of the story. And whether you like it or not, you have to go from A to B to C to D to get to Z because it's that long.
Yeah. One of my favourite bits.
This is not going to be it.
Is the bit where Troughton arrives at the camp pretending to be from the War Office. That is superb. That is absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
I bet that's gone. Listen,
I bet that's gone because that's
Well, they'll what BC and his woke crew would have gone through is they would have gone through the episodes, which they allegedly would know, and then gone through the script or whatever, and they would have gone, "Ooh, what's boring? What doesn't work? What's going to make it exactly like what they did with the Daleks?" Paul Stenterford, the BBC are just going to try to shoehorn their modern tripe into another beloved Doctor Who classic. Please concentrate on making better New Who rather than interfering with the past. I'd rather, Paul Stenterford, that they just left. Go. Fire them, BBC Studios. Get rid of them. You've got the wrong people in charge of Doctor Who, no matter what you think and no matter what they say. Look at your ratings, look at the feedback, and look at your sales. Andy Gladhill is saying to us, appealing to modern audiences is working really well for Jaguar. and Bud Light. And Boots. And everybody else. And the BBC's in the same boat. We just don't think about it as such, but they are in the same situation. They are going to ruin it, says Noel Thrussell. And I think it's guaranteed, isn't it?
You know what,
saying, that said, the colorization work looks superb.
It does. I agree with Benny on that. It does look really nice. The colorization.
Let's have a look at this from Yokai as well, guys. It's like they're saying, we know Classic Who is slow and boring, and you don't like black and white stuff, but we've tried to make the War Games resemble New Who as much as possible. Please watch it. That's exactly what they're doing. And the annoying thing is, as I say, Yokai 63, is they're doing it for an audience that isn't there. They're doing it for a minority of fans who are about anywhere from their teens, allegedly, into their 20s, allegedly. You know, those that will follow them blind and think Shooty Gat was the best thing since sliced bread because they haven't gone back to look at the. And I don't understand why they bothering to try and get the minority audience who think Shooty Gat was the best thing since Jodie Whittaker. Why are they trying to get them into proper Doctor Who? Leave that for us, because they're not interested. They're only interested in the gay stuff and the TQ stuff and the pronoun
They
stuff in your
can't, can
Doctor
they?
Who.
Because it's the only way they can contact proper Doctor Who, decent Doctor Who, is to keep on fiddling with it and trying to make it in their own image. But all this cutting down, it'll probably cut out one of Troughton's sons that's in it, which is just an interesting appearance.
Yeah.
If you're a fan, it's something that would be of interest. But, you know, are they really fans? But also, all the way through those 10 episodes, when you start getting the actual bad guys in the background come more to the fore, you'll miss that building and simmering conflict between the war chief and the head scientist.
Yeah.
You know, they're constantly trying to, or is
What
it the
a stupid fool you are.
Yeah, the security chief trying to constantly outwit each other up to the point
Yeah.
where the war chief, spoilers, shoots him. And
Yeah.
you lose all of that. It'll be such a shame.
Like I say, all the character stuff will go, which is such a waste. What I do predict is the generation sequence, where the Doctor's choosing a face and he can't decide. I bet they'll all change with all Russell's doctors will be up there.
There'll be women in there, and there'll be people of colour in there, and ethnics and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
I bet you, I mean, I dread to think what they've done in these things to change it to suit this new this minority audience.
They'll think they're being all modern, but if I remember rightly, one of the drawings, because there weren't photos, were they? One of the drawings, that they showed the Doctor, I'm pretty certain that was a black guy.
I think there was one.
I think there was. Yes, I think there was one. Yeah, 1969.
They won't
everybody
be as modern as they think they are. Yeah, you're right, JT. 1969.
Well, Rudolph Walker's in this as well, playing a American soldier as well. So there's lots of ethnicity in it. It's great.
Yeah. No, it's true. Yeah, well, because it was that sort of story. We could do that as well, wasn't it? Paul Rose, I was born in 1970, so grew up with colour, but I still love classic black and white movies and TV shows. If modern audiences can't take black and white, it proves how in trouble we are as a society. It really does. It absolutely does.
It started with Laurel and Hardy all those years ago, didn't it? That was it.
Yeah. Yeah. When you hear these things where they're saying that that some of these young people, and it's not all, but some of these young people who probably live in and around London, some of these young people can't be bothered looking at black and white or whatever. Well, more fool them, because there's proper entertainment, proper drama, proper suspense, proper horror, proper romance. The complete genres with great actors and talents that they could learn from, great stories. It's just such a shame, isn't it? Especially in Doctor Who. If you go back to those original 6 years, wow, off the scale. Hello to the Time Lord Victorious. RTD, by all means, create your pile of crap, why don't you? But get your dirty hands off true, proper Doctor Who. Here from me, I say. What else we got here? Oh, lots of chat, guys. There is lots of chat. Stephen Braddock, this watched this terrible trailer, and the Time Lords have glowing yellow eyes. Yeah.
That's the bit where Trevor Martin does something to Philip Maddock, isn't it? I think that's the bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is he forcing? It's the same gold as the regeneration, isn't it? Is it forcing the Doctor to regenerate?
Let's come to that in a second, because I want to talk about that. But here we go. I've always thought the War Games is beautifully paced, even at 10 episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Really, and now they're cutting it down because of these stupid reports they get, and they think it's true because they're listening to idiots, and then they're listening to these people that put these reports together.
Episodes 9 and 10 are sublime.
Oh yeah. This will make me want to go back and watch the original from 1 to 10, because it just reminds you how good it is, But
Hugh Janus is saying, how can you make a story make sense when it's reduced by more than half? You can't.
Yeah,
this is the problem with it, and this is why, because these idiots that will go and watch this, it's brilliant. You're missing out on the entire story. They should be publicizing. This is why I'm saying, if they colorized the episodes as they were, without all the need for editing, new musical tracks, interfering with special effects, why then, if these idiots aren't watching black and white stuff, why wouldn't they watch this version and just go with it? You could release 2 episodes a week.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that? It's only 25 minutes per episode. Surely if they're watching 25 minutes per episode twice a week on different days, therefore reliving the experience we all had of the cliffhanger, surely they can 25 minutes is less than 90 minutes, so surely that would retain this interest that allegedly they don't have. Do you know what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
The danger, JT, is that they might enjoy it more than the trash that comes out now.
Well,
and they don't want to risk that with their precious little mythical audience, do they?
Just to warn them, though, if they make shooty stuff into black and white, it won't make us like it if that's what they're going to try.
Yeah, I just can't stand that it was absolutely 100% yet again who viewers, as I pointed out in that publicity from BBC Studios, BBC Media, it's not for us. And they've made it very, very clear, reading between those lines, they've made it very clear, you won't like this, you people, you original fans, you people that know the truth about life, you people that can tell the difference between a man and a woman, you're not going to like this version. It's not for you. Well, fine. Let's not pay for it then. Let's not buy it. Let's do the boycott thing. Let's not, because they've got us as too many times now over the last 7 years, ever since Whittaker was cast. It's not for you anymore. It's not for you anymore. Look how that's going for you. You blooming idiots.
I mean, I'm sure the quality of the colorization is superb. I'm sure it is. It looks
and the trailer looks good. I have to
and
say.
if they've got new black and white prints and they're working off, that's going to be even better. So, you know, the actual colorization work, the technical side of it, absolutely fantastic. You know, good on them.
Well, that's why I feel it's a waste, because
but the editing of the story.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine, Ian, if they put out the 10 episodes in color in a nice steel book with the 10 episodes in black and white on the other disc? So you've got the two forms and a Blu-ray and a DVD as well. What a big seller that would be for them. Unaltered. Yeah. For us.
I would order that in a heartbeat.
Yes, and then of course you could be able to put it on one day, the season 3 complete limited edition set and standard edition set one day as well. Bump that up by another 20 quid. Yeah. I mean, these people have got no idea. They're so busy being ideological and wokeist and just utterly insane in their own heads. Oh, we've got to be PC. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. We've got to represent this, representation. Oh my God, they wind me up. Sack them all and get people who understand the show in.
The only thing I think for them is very dangerous is putting a really good episode on the 23rd before the 25th when Shooty's episode arrives. It'll still be better than that, I'm sure.
Well, don't forget, it is going to be released on the 23rd of December. Now, on the 23rd of December, if you haven't got anything better to do, because it is Christmas Eve, and you're sitting down with this, let us know. We are currently running a poll here on Who's Views on the community tab. Very simple. Are you going to watch this? Yes or no? Very, very simple. Just as we came on air, a check. We've so far had 55 votes. And so far, yes is 40% and no is 60%. Okay, so we'll be keeping an eye on that as we go through, as we get nearer to it. I'm still haven't a clue. I might be busy on the December the 23rd. I haven't a clue. It depends where I am. So I don't know. But we might look at it. You know, I'm sure Paul's going to watch it. Ian, you might watch it. Some of the others might watch it. You guys in the chat might be watching it. If you do, if I get the time, we'll do a show about it. We'll do a review. If I don't get the time, we'll still do a review about it if you want, guys. And you can tell me what I haven't missed.
Yeah.
I imagine this was commissioned before season 1 went down the drain, said Richard Moore. And hello to Golden Age Geek, who's saying the confessional dial, who created the fan edit of the second Doctor's regeneration, said Phil Collinson approached him and asked to use his stuff. And then he went in and created stuff for this. So that's exactly why it looks good, because as Paul Stenterford is also saying there, thanks Golden Age Geek, nice to see you. Paul Stenterford is saying they've making the colorizations of Doctor Who episodes sound so revolutionary when YouTubers have been colorizing episodes for years.
Yeah. Can they spend the money on Invasion of the Dinosaurs Part 1 for goodness sake?
If they don't after all this, I'll be very, very upset. Tying in with what we were saying there. Sorry, Ian, go ahead.
No, that would be absolutely criminal if they didn't do that with dinosaurs. Absolutely.
Wouldn't it just? Because they're wasting the money on all this nonsense. Noodle Arms is saying the missing footage is what RTD is putting in that he believes should be in there. All alleged.
Oh, the generation, you mean? Yeah.
Very probably. Yeah. I'm wound up about the regeneration. I've heard there are some alternate takes from episode 1 found at the BFI, says Woodhouse 122. Komodo is saying, I didn't know War Games was supposed to be the full stop. Absolutely it was. The show was gonna come off air. It was rescued at the 11th hour, literally. We've also got Daryl Joyce is with us, everybody. Hi, Daryl. I think they're creating missing footage in the new Who regeneration.
Right.
Okay, we've got all that.
The regeneration from the clip, the regeneration looks like and sounds like New Who regenerations. But
Well, it does.
Why would that be the case for Troughton to Pertwee when Pertwee to Baker wasn't, and
Yeah.
Baker to Davison wasn't, and Davison to Colin Baker wasn't, and Colin Baker to Sylvester McCoy wasn't, and in fact the TV movie wasn't either.
You know the answer to that.
They're just it's like, you know, it's like a feral cat wanting to pee on everything it sees to put its own scent on it, and that is what Russell T Davies is trying to do to classic Doctor Who. He's trying to pee all over it so it smells of him.
How much nicer it would have been if they did like a Hartnell Troughton version, Pertwee Baker version.
No,
if they were going to do it at all, you know. But yeah,
I'm wound up about this because let me first say, we weren't supposed to see any regeneration for the history of the show. It was going to come off air, and like they were supposed to do with Whittaker, it was supposed to be open ended in case it ever came back. But there was never any plan to do that. It was supposed to come off air, so you weren't supposed to see the Doctor changing. The reason they've done this is quite simple. It has to fit into the RTD mode of doing stuff. Now, I don't know about you lot at home, but I am sick and tired of this glowing thing going on. It's been too much.
I'm sick of them standing up, JT. I want to lie down. They're dying, for God's sake. It's like,
yes. All these elongated, ridiculous, pretentious speeches. Just die, for crying out loud. Just get out.
Don't take 3 episodes to regenerate, for God's sake.
Exactly.
The end, but the moment's been prepared for. Go.
Exactly. Yeah. But what we've got here is simply... you know, it's simply because that's what's going on, isn't it? This is the thing. It's all about, it has to fit in with the modern show. So therefore, the whole RTD thing, where he said, I remember when he said years ago, this has to be, this is how they regenerate now. This is it, and it's just been churned out and churned out and churned out and churned out and churned out all the time now.
As a fan, it was a real novelty to see different regenerations over the years, wasn't it? You know, because never done the same twice, was it? You know,
it was always different. You wondered what it would look like.
Yeah, it was part of the excitement, you know, because you were getting over the fact that your Doctor was dying and you were going to get a new one, and we got over that within 4 or 5 episodes of the new guy usually. But it was down to the director then. It wasn't a command from above to say this is how you've got to do it. I wish Moffat had changed it. I wish he'd said, no, I want to do it like this. Or what do you think?
I thought he was going to when he did the Matt Smith Capaldi one. It was slightly different, but there was still that wee bit of gold hue that they get. You know, that was a slight change, but not enough change. But yeah.
Daryl's back with us saying there'll be some soppy sentimental music in the departure of the companions and the regeneration through the RTD lens.
That's a beautiful moment when Jamie and Zoe leave. Don't spoil it.
Oh my God, that is just heart-wrenching.
They will. I guarantee you they'll have music over that lovely scene now, and it'll be all the as he's saying, they're sentimental nonsense to bring a tear to your eye, and it'll all be all that. Oh God, we've got to go. Oh please, I've got to calm down. Listen, as we've just been saying there, though, it does look really good, and it's such a shame.
Yeah,
I think that this thing is going to be hacked to death like this because these people who are doing this are talented. They know what they're doing. They obviously are very clever with the paintbrush. I mean, look at this. This really does excite me. I thought, oh my God, you're going to get to see all these beautiful things. It
looks like Philip Mallock should be in Slade, though, doesn't it? To be honest.
Yeah. And also, you know, that suit in the back from the nearest kink club. Yeah, fantastic. But look at this. I mean, it looks fabulous, and I've just got the feeling that these people, very talented people who are doing all these colorizations and doing all the hard work and making it look absolutely beautiful, and then it comes out with some hack job that they edit it down so much and do. I mean,
that's the Gallifreyan discotheque they're in at that point, aren't they?
Yeah.
JT, you know that previous picture?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? He'll stitch in something to say that Lieutenant Carstairs there, his grandson becomes commanding officer of unit after Lethbridge Stewart, because he played the officer commanding in 5 Doctors, didn't he?
That's right. Yeah.
I hate things like that. I just hate that. I can't stand all that nonsense. I really
it's ridiculous.
But again, it's like with the DVDs, they try to link everything up into the new Who. I mean, that's ultra fan nonsense, isn't it? Just leave it be. You know. As for the Time Lords, I don't really mind the Time Lords. I think they look quite elegant. I never thought it would be blue.
No, I'm sure it probably is still meant to be black, but they've just like Barbara's pink cardigan. It's a bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there might be production notes, mightn't there? Because the BBC kept
Yes.
everything. There might
Yeah,
be
maybe.
production notes about design.
Apart
and
from
what
the
colour they were.
episodes, Ian. Yeah. So.
Well, yeah. But because we know full well, don't we, that the TARDIS console was green because that's what came out on black and white telly with the lights. So again, it'd be for contrast. There would be, but they do look good. And like we've said before, the people that have done the colorization, top notch. But
talking of them, I'm actually delighted to welcome them to the chat, because if this is you, congratulations, Who Color. It's been a labor of love working on the War Games this year. Oh, well, listen, congratulations, because it looks stunning. It looks fantastic. And I'm so glad that you've had a great time working on it. And look, you are obviously very talented, but I'm sure you'll understand why we're all very worried after the fiasco that was the Daleks. With
I'd be
some of your
interested,
colleagues.
has Who Color, sorry, JT, has Who Color ever seen the full 10 episodes black and white in its original form, all the way through, nothing cut, just out of curiosity?
I hope this is them, and it's not a wind-up, by the way. I hope this isn't a wind-up, but I hope it is you, because if it is, let's show those pictures again. It looks absolutely superb. And I can't imagine how you start and where you start with this sort of stuff.
That one with Carstairs and Lady Jennifer is absolutely beautiful.
It is, isn't it? And it's exactly how we... Well, I don't know about you. It's exactly how I imagined it, because we know what those outfits look like and what colours they are.
Yeah. And Philip Maddock as well looks cool with those glasses on.
Yeah.
He would scare the crap out of you, wouldn't he, if it was in that situation?
Yeah. Well, actually, we know the story. He does. He plays it so well. But even this, look at this. It's lovely. I mean, wow. And if I think it must be them, mustn't it? Who Color? It must be you. Welcome to Whose Views. Congratulations. You will probably be the best thing about it. And we haven't even seen it yet. But there we go. But lovely to see you. Whose Views reviews the War Games? Yes, we will. We will do. We will do. Yeah, we'll sort it out.
I have to say the TARDIS sequences look quite nice as well when they're running away from the Time Lords. That's a really nice
again, but it's been added though, isn't it? And I suppose had they had the ability to do it back then, they would have done it something properly. But I don't know. The purist in me says just shoot this. Just
and I meant the interiors rather than the shonky model bits.
Oh, I see. Right.
Yeah, the bits with the fall to the floor and the Time Lords has gotten down and it's quite dramatic.
Yeah, the TARDIS looks fantastic. I mean, it must take hours to do it all. How many hours did it take you to do it all, actually, please, Who Color? How many hours work for you? And
how many months?
Yeah.
How many other people were there?
Gosh, that's amazing, isn't it? We've got Gilliam here saying, damn, I've just watched the trailer. It does look good, and cutting away, it makes it look really exciting. Yes, it does. The trailer is good. I'm not going to take that away from them either. The trailer looks brilliant, and it makes it look exciting. But again, that's going to be part of the sell to this minority audience that Russell T Davies and his crew are desperately trying to get in. And I don't know why, because A, they're mythical, and B, they're not interested. They're not interested.
There's some cracking cliffhangers in this story as well, particularly in the part one, where the Doctor is, spoiler coming up, is going to be executed. That's a great cliffhanger. It really is.
Oh, you've just ruined the whole thing for me now.
Sorry, it's nearly 56 years old, for goodness sake.
Really? I haven't seen it for a few years. Oh, we've got lots of... Listen, thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. Who Color is with us, saying to Kirsty, I have worked on both the Daleks and the War Games. It's been such good fun. I've given it all my all, and I'm so excited to see it at Christmas. So I would imagine then he hasn't seen the full thing, or she. Are you he or she? We don't do anything other here. But let me know.
This DVD, I noticed, is actually, it's got 3 discs on it. That's how much content there is on this particular one. And this has got 10 episodes on it.
Pooh's Lost Eyes, it's lovely to see you. Hope you're keeping well. Thank you. From the trailer, it's pretty clear that AI has been used. It's really uncanny looking. I wondered about that. So Who Color, can you confirm? Do you know? Has AI been used in this at all? Because I wondered when I saw the trailer, I was thinking, hang on a minute, and this regeneration thing, is that where they've put it into? I don't know.
We'd be fascinated to chat to them, wouldn't we?
Yeah, if you want to come on and talk to us about it and have a chat with us, Who Colour, you are very, very welcome, because it's great to see you.
Welcome, everybody.
Yeah, come and have a look. Who Colour is also saying to us, I love Troughton. It's been such a privilege to work on this. I had some very late nights.
Not surprised.
God, can you imagine? By late nights, probably 2 or 3 in the morning. Honestly, congratulations then. I guarantee you're probably the best thing about this 90-minute version of the War Games. Goodness me, 90
I'd love
minutes.
to see how they worked out what to cut out. Like you were saying, JT, about, we'll cut that bit because that's really boring, so we'll take that out. And I wonder how they came to the decision of cutting which bits.
Well, how did they do it with the Daleks?
Yeah. Randomly, with their eyes closed, perhaps.
Wasn't it?
Mark is saying to us for a super chat, thank you very much, Mark. If you don't have the attention span to watch 10 episodes of true television, I don't want you watching it. Leave our show alone. When you've got somebody like Who Colour doing this, though, and obviously showing a brilliant talent, and I'm not just saying that because they're in the chat, but because, you know, I looked at that trailer yesterday and thought, actually, it looks great. It does look great. The colouring looks fantastic. Give them the whole 10 episodes to do. And as I say, broadcast it on BBC4 and iPlayer twice. Put it all on iPlayer as 10 episodes, but put it on twice a week on BBC4.
Yeah.
And I think people would come, and because it's 25 minutes on a Tuesday and 25 minutes on a Thursday or something like that, I think these people that they're trying desperately to find would sit through the 25 minutes and then go off and do things, and then come back.
It's probably a budget thing, isn't it, to do all 10 episodes, to be fair. It's going to take a lot of time.
If they paid them for it, Paul, if they paid them for it and then put it undoctored, to coin a phrase, if they didn't...
Every pun intended, Ian. Yeah.
Thank you. And put it out on a DVD release with the original, everything cleaned up, they would get that money back probably several times over, because we know it sells. Yeah. But people that do the work would have to be paid for it properly. Absolutely.
Yeah. We've got here Paul Richards saying to us, Joe Martin will appear after Troughton. Well, no, because it's coming in the press release that the regeneration does see Troughton moving to Pertwee. So,
but what about season 6B, for goodness sake? What do you have to that?
Oh,
Castor
Drone is pointing out that AI involvement in official original footage is worrying for the future, because the whole narrative can be changed. Yeah, we've sort of touched on this before. These are the dangers of AI. I was at the pictures the other night seeing something, can't remember what it was. And one of the adverts worried me, because it's about a new phone where you can adjust your photograph on the phone. So you can say, you know, oh, that person can move there, or that person wasn't there, I'll add them into this photograph.
Yeah.
That is a huge concern to me, because photography is used as evidence in some cases for major serious crimes. So it could be manipulated. I'm very concerned about, call me old-fashioned, I don't care. I'm very concerned about where that can lead, and why society is supporting these dangerous practices in my eyes. I don't like it at all, to Castor Drone. So I'm with you on that one. Never mind altering television and sticking John Pertwee in next door to Shooty Gatwa in one of his episodes, because they could do that. They could do the 25 million doctors now.
Yeah.
And AI them all then. Do you know what I mean? Hello to Martin McNiff. Or McNeef, nice to see you. Welcome to Whose Views. RTD is like a dog marking his territory.
That's what you said, Ian. Except for a cat.
Yeah, cats are more prone to it. Dogs, it's more for finding the way home, but with cats, it's territorial, and that is RTD to a T. Probably what the T stands for.
Yeah, less is more, Bidwell. I agree with you there. Less is more. Yeah.
Lots of you in the chat, so thank you so much for joining us and giving us your opinions. Gilliam is saying, I have to say no one will not watch, mainly because I'm traveling and can't use the iPlayer, as I refuse to pay the license. But the trailer does look awesome. The trailer looks great. It does look great, and it's a little bit different, isn't it? You know,
the build up to the Daleks was exciting. We were genuinely looking forward to that, because we didn't know what to expect. I mean, we didn't know that it would be looking like something that would come out of Sainsbury's Butchers. Did we?
Yeah. No, it's true.
The thought of watching this, I've got a kind of a horrible feeling in my stomach of dread. You know what I mean? It's going to be awful. You know, but
I think most of us do, because of what we lived through with the Daleks. Because the best thing about the Daleks again was the colouring.
Yeah.
And now it looks like it's going to be the same for the War Games, because 90 minutes. And is it going to affect the sales of the War Games on DVD? No. because they won't go. These people that they're aiming it for aren't going to go and buy this, even though you can get it for $7.99. The War Games in certain places.
When they brought the Daleks out, they had the original 7-parter as an option on the DVD, just the DVD version on the Blu-ray of the colorized Daleks. So they might do the same with that and have the whole 10 black and white episodes on one disc and then the color one on another in the set that comes out next year.
Yeah, exactly. Just Jordan, how are you? How is your dad? Is he coping with the news that the War Games is going to be colorized and snipped down to 90 minutes? Because, of course, Just Jordan's dad is around about my age. So we've got it here. I think I'll watch the 10-episode version and then all the Wallace and Gromit films in readiness for the worthwhile programming of Christmas instead of this. Well done to you, Just Jordan. Absolutely. We've also got Bedweir saying the Smith into Capaldi regeneration was very poor. No merging of the features as it always was done. It's because they're now so boring, Bedweir, that they're trying desperately to put spin on them. Hence the bi-regeneration nonsense. You know, that's what they're doing. They have to find a new way to do something now. They can't just have him die and then the new guy replacing him. And that's why the regeneration effects should be different in each regeneration, because at least it adds something to it. And who'd have thought? Who'd have thought we'd get to now the possibility of what is it, the 15th regeneration? I mean, who knows? It's so tired now. Really, it's not as magical as it was because it happens every 3 or 4 years.
I hope they don't blow up Troughton's TARDIS as well at the end. Oh
God! Yeah, that would be whatever happens, they have to tie it in with Spearhead.
Yeah,
let's just hope they don't mutilate that in the future as well. Marjorie is saying John Pertwee and Tom Baker's regenerations were perfect. Yep. Okay. Yep. Oh, what else we got? Oh, yeah. Mudcrab is saying, "Oh, crud! RTD is going to work in a bi-generation and pull a completely new Doctor out of nowhere."
That thought had crossed my mind that it might have happened when Troughton regenerates to Pertwee and out pops Joe Martin in between.
It was a fear, as I say. It was a fear over the last
not
few
in her
days.
underwear like Fruity, hopefully.
Not, no.
Yeah, well, it was a fear since yesterday when this was put out, and a fear today. But I've read out the statement from the BBC, the press release there. They say it's Troughton into Pertwee. So there you go. Let's hope they are not taking the P out of there. Paul Thomas Ashworth, thank you very much for your lovely Keep It Up super sticker there. That's very nice of you. Thank you. God, I just don't know what to make of this whole thing. I'm like you, Paul. I'm very, very concerned with it.
Yeah.
You know,
to be honest, I feel sick thinking about it. To be honest, I really do. It's like, what a shame for a great story to be ruined.
It's also that thing of another missed opportunity. These people, I've said it online today, and been upsetting people unintentionally, because all these people come back saying, "Oh, blah, blah, blah," because I've said this show is now being run by people that do not understand Doctor Who or care. They just don't care. They're too busy trying to tick the DEI boxes and running around after a mythical audience, and hence this is why we're getting all these butchered jobs, when the biggest thing they could have done was to say, let's spend the time, as I say, coloring the episodes as they are and just release it commercially, because they would have had a lot of money. Because all those fans that aren't watching Doctor Who now, all those fans that have got the message years ago, "Oh, it's not for us anymore," switch it off. All those fans after Shooties, "What is this?" Switch it off. All the fans like us, everybody that's not going to come back for Series 2 and the Christmas thing that's coming on, we would have gone and bought it, and they could have charged $29.99 or the $39.99 for the Steelbook. We would have bought it if it was the 10 episodes intact. The same with the Daleks, the 6 episodes intact. None of this Benny Hill nonsense or soundtracks going on with it. Sorry, Mark. That would have been a huge seller for them. And a brand new range, colorizing the 60s episodes as they were meant to be seen just in color. Can you imagine how many stories they could have re-released there and how much they could have earned? These people have no idea about how to make money in business. Shocking. It really is shocking. Craig, how are you? Craig Dunlop. Won't regeneration scene now be a bi-generation scene with Pat Troughton splitting apart like an amoeba? I part in part one with confusing pronouns as well.
Well, as long as they don't do a David Tennant, then Troughton's left to do his own thing, and then they got Pertwee. Oh no, don't do that.
Can you imagine?
God.
Boomer Doug is saying, I have to be honest. I love the colorization. It's beautiful. I'm just concerned about the 90-minute edit. We have to be.
Yeah.
We have to be. I mean, it just looks ridiculous, doesn't it? I mean, it's like, come on. Lots of you there, as I say in the chat. JWC Reviews is saying the trailer usually has the best bits in it, though. Well, we know that from Hollywood, don't we?
Yeah.
And Raymond Williams, as part of his chat in there, is saying, if it's crap, I won't be buying the Blu-ray. It's an extra. We aren't losing anything. The general public certainly won't be buying it, or these so-called new fans. That's the problem, isn't it? Because it's going to be on the 23rd of December on BBC 4, and the general public aren't interested in Doctor Who now in the UK. We know that. They're not going to go and sit down and watch a colorized version of a 1969 Patrick Troughton episode. They've got better things to do. Can you imagine the amount of people that are going to be out on the 23rd of December panic shopping?
Yeah.
Can you imagine? All the fellas will start coming out about 9 o'clock on the 23rd of December and have to go back on Christmas Eve to do that, because that's what they're like. But, this is not for the public. This is for the minority of fans, when there's a huge, big fan base who would have supported it had it been done properly. Do you get why I'm frustrated, to viewers? I just think it's an absolutely ridiculous thing to do. It really is stupid.
I look forward to seeing the Blu-ray charts to see how well it sells.
Well, the Daleks didn't do much, did it?
I know, exactly. Yeah. So 3 copies of it.
Did it?
No.
Yeah. Well. Wow. I want the Flux 6 episodes cut to 15 minutes, says Robert Payne.
I want them to junk them, Robert. That'd be better.
And then decolorized into black and white, and then lost.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Mark Milford, thank you for your super chat. Mark, our resident poet laureate here at Who Views. Thank you so much. And what you're saying to us, I wonder, is this the start of the BBC updating its back catalogue of black and white content, news, film, TV, or international streaming? Had they done Doctor Who properly? Yes, but because they won't make money on it, and I don't even think they'd be making back the budget they put into this, because none of us are buying the Blu-rays to the extent they need to be a huge commercial success. Possibly. Hancock was well received, but that was put onto UK Gold a few years ago, do you remember? And it did fairly well, and it was well received. Hence why I think this triggered the idea of let's do Doctor Who as well. But they're doing it wrong. Hancock wasn't butchered.
Yeah.
They did it with Dad's Army as well, didn't they?
They did it with Dad's Army.
Yeah, and they've been doing some Step 2 as well, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't even know, to be quite honest, if there's now an audience for this. Certainly when it comes to Doctor Who. I just don't think there is. Thank you, Mark, for your super chat. And also, Rose has a question, Rose Kirby. So would you say modern regeneration is crash bang fireworks?
Yeah.
Well, it's just devalued, isn't it? Because now, he can pretend to regenerate, can't he? Looking at Capaldi in that.
That was terrible, wasn't it?
That silly 3-parter. It just, I'm just going to pretend I'm going to die. Here's the glowy stuff. Can you control it like that?
Or you can use regeneration to fix River Song's broken wrist and things like that. That's
forgotten about that nonsense. Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah. From my point of view, Rose, yes, I think it's overused. I think it's too regular. I think the magic has gone from it. The fact that the lead actors are either asked to leave or decide to leave every 3 years, I think that's far too much. The whole thing about when we watched it back in the day in proper Doctor Who was it was always done with grace, with common sense, with drama. If you look at the way Pertwee exited, if you especially look at the way that Tom exited, there was a whole funereal atmosphere to Logopolis. And then with Davison, the way he edited, that was absolutely pack, action, dead. It led up to it. There was now there's none of that really at all. It's just all boom, crash, wallop, whop, and now they're twisting it. Yeah, I think.
Well, even like David Tennant falling from that spaceship through the glass ceiling, and he still was okay, right? But Tom falls from the Pharaoh's project, and he's going to regenerate. I mean, that takes all the nonsense out of it, doesn't it? That the drama that one doctor can do that, but the other one can't. It's just really weird,
And Whittaker fell through the train.
Superman,
yeah. Whittaker did fall through the train. Apparently, was she in it? Was she in space as well?
Yeah, she fell out the TARDIS.
Space.
Down to Earth. Never mind re-entry. Which would have been great if she just burnt to a bloody crisp. But no, she comes.
That would have saved time, Ian. Yeah.
And then they added all this thing, because I read something recently as well where Chibnall, one fan said, "How can that be when Tom Baker fell off a the Pharos project, and then Matt Smith had to have a suit when he fell out of space somewhere, and all this sort of stuff. And Chibnall just came back and said, well, now, of course, the Doctor has this ability to self-heal within the first so many hours of regeneration. That's something else they've added to it.
Well, that was a hand thing, wasn't it? Christmas Invasion, when it was chopped off, that kind of
but again,
Skywalker moment.
It takes off that whole thing about the Doctor isn't a superhero. He is a Time Lord. He is mortal. And thanks to the gift of regeneration, which has now also been extended, you know, he could die.
But he hadn't thought it through, had he? Because, like you say, Paul, quite right, that all stemmed from the hand growing back because it was the first few hours. But then following that, came Matt Smith, and he still needed the suit, though, didn't he? So that MacGuffin didn't help him there. It was just, it's tosh, absolute tosh.
Oh, you're watching Who's Views, by the way. This is Headlines. It's your Sunday Big Show. We're currently talking about the news that, of course, that the War Games is on the way on the 23rd of December on BBC4 and the iPlayer. Colorized. The colorization does look great. It looks like it's probably going to be the best thing about it. The War Games, as we're saying, has been edited to 90 minutes. Shempmeister is joining us saying, I have no interest in seeing a story that has huge chunks cut out of it. If there are fans who refuse to watch it because of its length and because it's black and white, then that's their loss. Here, I totally get that. And I don't think we should be, as adults, well, allowing the asylums to run everything now, aren't we? You know, they should never close them down. If these kids are demanding things like, oh, it's got to be 5 minutes, so I'm not bored. Well, tough titty. Why are we not turning around as adults and say, sit down and watch 25 minutes? What's going on? Why are they ruling the day of this? I don't get it. Joshua, it's good to see you. It's complete vandalism. No better than the oil activists. The War Games. The War Games is great. And leave it alone. Again, I'm going to say fantastic. I agree with that totally.
I suppose it's a bit like chucking tomato soup on it, isn't it? Because it's gone to colour, isn't it?
Yeah. Who Colours still with us? Thank you for still being with us. I'm glad you're here. Please subscribe. I watched the trailer for the first time yesterday with everyone else. The source material has been scanned in HD and looks incredible. And my work is lovingly hand painted. Yeah, that's
fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Are you going to do Invasion of Dinosaurs Part 1? Who Colour? Can you tell us that?
That's the one we all want. We want that. We want CGI dinosaurs back in there as well, or proper puppet dinosaurs now, because they do the proper puppets now, don't they? You can get them in blooming toy shops now. Really good toy shop dinosaurs. And have you seen them? I mean, what you put them on your hands? My God, that's really
it's like that Flea War Horse with the puppeteering of the horse. They get them like that. Fantastic.
Yeah. Just Jordan said her dad is well, thank you, JT. Sadly, I think he's all but given up on this now. Yes, I know how he feels.
Blame him. Yeah,
I know how he feels. Robin Calvert's always with us as well. Nice to see you, Robin. Nice idea to release the news on November the 23rd and show it at Christmas. Let's hope it happens every year. I hope it doesn't. I really can't be done with these bastardizations of my Doctor Who. I'm very protective of the proper Doctor Who. They're not doing it the way I think they should be doing it. I don't want these cut down things, Robin. I'll be very honest. I want it done properly, and then I'll buy it. I would buy it.
The thing about it is, if they did like a 4-part black and white story, and they're going to make that go down to 50 minutes and take 2 episodes out of it because they don't like the pace.
It's just like it's just too much for them to just tidy it up, colorize it, and leave it. It's they have to do something. They have to add something. They have to cut something out. They have to change something. They can't help themselves. They absolutely have to. It is definite feral cat.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. And at that point, Julie Wendy is with us. Hi, Julie. Even a butchered version of the War Games will still be a stellar compared to the current show. Yeah, it doesn't have. I mean, proper Doctor Who doesn't really tie up with the stuff they're churning out today either. There's no way you can. It's not even the same character in the from Chibnall onwards. He recreated the character. It's not the same one. You know, that's the brilliant thing. You can step off after Capaldi. We can all do that because the Doctor isn't even in his own series after Capaldi. Time Lord Victorious is tying in with what you're saying there as well, Ian. I think for them, it's their own personal pet project aimed to fuel their ego, show how great they are. They can improve everything. And yet they are failing, aren't they? The Time Lord Victorias, they are not improving everything. In fact, what they're doing is pushing people further and further away from it. It's utter nonsense. And Pools Lost Eyes, the thing about colorizing the full serials, Phil, is that it would be quite a costly endeavor for something that has a niche audience.
I can understand that the new series, or the series itself in general, needs audience to grow, but you don't want to alienate your fan base as well. Keep them and get other people to come as well. Not split it in half. Seems stupid.
But they've lost them, Paul, haven't they?
They have, yeah.
They've literally told them where to go, without expecting that they would say, "All right then." Yeah. And of course they did, and now they're stuffed and they can't get back. So they're turning to things like this to try and say, "Look, we're still relevant. Look, you like this, don't you? Look what we've done to it." And of course they're doing it in a completely unsympathetic way. Again, the colorization, beautiful, but going on the Daleks, the music, I dread to think, and how that story is going to scan when you actually watch it, I genuinely don't know.
Can I ask you a question?
I know the book wasn't reflective of a 10-part story, was it? The book
was more reflective of the original script that Terence had in mind. Yeah.
So it was a lot smaller, but you know, I don't know.
I was going to ask BC, who's editing this.
Yes.
Do they have any experience of actual editing? Is that what they do for?
Allegedly, no.
Right. Okay. I just wondered. Right. So why are they doing it?
Allegedly, no.
It's like.
Champmeister is saying to us, the efforts to make older stories appeal to this mythical new audience are so disrespectful to the original creators, not just these butchered colorized versions, but the awful, barely animated recons. Yeah, I'm getting what you're saying there as well. And again, thank you to Mark for another super chat. He said that, I wonder if this is the start of the BBC updating is, but oh, no, we had that one, didn't we? Sorry, yeah. We've got another one here from Hugh Janus, another super chat. Thank you, Hugh. The next regeneration will happen during a visit to the TARDIS bog. He'll crap his next self out.
I'd pay money to see that. Yeah, that'd be good, yes.
Anything is now possible in this terrible, terrible, terrible version that we have to put up with. It's one of the reasons I want it off the air.
The reason I asked about editing was that editing is a real skill. And if you look at the original Star Wars, apparently the first edit of that was awful. And then George Lucas's wife re-edited it, and it was so much better. So it's a real skill to get this right. So even if you are a skilled editor, getting it down from 10 episodes to an hour and a half is going to take a hell of a lot of doing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. But why they couldn't do it in, as I say, why does it have to be 90 minutes? 25 minutes, 10 episodes over so many weeks. Oh, I'll give up. I really give up with these people.
If you cut out the time that they would have spent on recaps and cliffhangers and theme tunes, it's probably about 4 episodes out of 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you are taking more than 50% of that story. You're taking 6 out of 10 episodes, and you're chucking them in the bin.
And the annoying thing is that this alleged mythological audience that they're craving can't even watch an hour. Because if you look at those reports, as I've done, they actually recommend at least 20 minutes.
Yeah.
For these people. These people have serious problems, by the way, if they can't sit down and relax for 20 minutes. There's definitely some sort of attention span deficit going on there, you know, because how are they going to get through a day at work? You know, how are they going to do that? You know, we actually see something they can't, you know, it's shocking. I blame the parents. I blame the schools. You know, so many schools in the UK by nowadays are trying to get 4-day weeks because of all this nonsense. It's more likely the teachers want 3 days off, quite frankly. You know, no. Get on with it. You've got to teach the kids properly through discipline and also through reality to get them ready for work. And Britain's lost when it comes to that side of stuff, in my opinion, anyway. Terrified Monk is saying, I never watched the War Games. The trailer made me hyped to go and watch the original. Oh, well, that's interesting. That's good, isn't it? Well, I hope you enjoy it. It's a great story. It's a big story. It's a long story. Stick with it. It's brilliant. It's one of the. It's a real classic. The War Games. It really is, in every sense of the word. Not just for Doctor Who, but for the BBC in general.
Savor it. Don't rush it.
Exactly. Thank you, Terrified Monk. And TARDIS Travels is asking you: will the BBC junk the 10 episodes of the War Games in favour of the colour version? They better not.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Can you imagine? There's no way. This is now British television heritage. They can't do that. They've lost too much of Doctor Who. They wouldn't TARDIS travels at all. They couldn't do it. No, they won't do that. No, they won't do that. As I say, guys, there's lots of people in the chat talking about this. I don't even think it's 50-50, to be quite honest. I think the majority of us like, what are they doing? Eddie saying to us, I hope they don't colorize the Web of Fear. It's perfectly suited to black and white. But I'd love to see Daryl Joyce. Yeah. But I'd love to see Daryl Joyce do the animation for the missing episode. Here.
Oh, that's a lovely idea. Daryl, go on to it now.
Can you have it done by the end, please, Daryl?
Yeah.
That's all right.
By 10 o'clock. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Yeah. And get everybody, JT, to join in the poll.
Yes, yeah.
Everybody that's in the chat.
We've got so much going on here on the channel for you. TARDIS Travel's also saying, can we have a colorized web planet and the censor rights? It could happen. I mean, they obviously don't care that the Daleks was a flop, and they've brought this one out. It'd be interesting to see. I don't know. We're all forgetting about the edited nonsense that they did for the Pyramids of Mars.
If their intention is to do it, if Russell, when he arrived on the scene to fix Doctor Who magically,
yes, he's the savior.
The plan was to do them all, and they're hoping that this will be a bit more success than it actually is. But I think this will be it. They'll do 2 and that'll be it, because there's no market for it, you know.
Yeah. 90 minutes is just wrong, says John. And Mudcrab is saying to us, McCoy nearly fell off an ice ledge in Dragonfire. If only he knew the Time Lords are immune to fall damage, he could have just jumped.
Yeah.
You see, it was better when he was just a mortal, you know, and the danger was always there. Oh, gosh. This has really wound me up, everybody, as you might be able to tell. I'm very frustrated with it all, but it's on the way, as we say. As I mentioned there, I'll mention it again. Currently, in our community tab here on the channel, we are running a poll. Very simple. Are you going to watch it? Yes or no? We're going to be keeping an eye on the results of that. Before we came on air, as I say, we'd had 55 votes. Yes was 40%. No was 60%. We will probably do a review of some sort of the War Games in colour. So make sure you have subscribed to the channel and you've liked it and all the usual stuff that you know you've got to do, and stay with us as we look at all that, because if you're going to watch it as well, and even if you don't watch it, please come and join us for that review, where either the guys will tell me what I haven't missed, or I might, if I get time, watch it as well. At this moment in time, I'm not that bothered, I have to be honest, but it's going to be memorable, isn't it?
For all their own reasons, yes.
It could be confirmed. It strikes me, however, though, that, you know, all this is coming about at a time when the show is in trouble. Let's face it. And that leads me on to our next port of call here, everybody, because have you seen this from the Radio Times? Doctor Who fans shouldn't be worried about its future. It's built to survive. It has a secret weapon, claims Louise Griffin from the RadioTimes.com. Now, at this particular point, while we go through this, I just want to mention that Louise Griffin is ex the Metro. Yes, the Metro, one of our favourite pieces of research or go-tos here on Who's Views Headlines, because the Metro is the wokest alleged newspaper, piece of crap, really, in the UK. And it's one of these free sheets that's always left on a tube or a bus or on a tram, because nobody wants to take it home, because they read it and go, oh, please. You know, you wouldn't even take it home to use in the bathroom. But anyway, Guardian comes a very close second, though. Let's face it, that won't be around in the next 10 years, I guarantee you. But anyway, let's get into this particular story and let's see what you all think about this. So while we're all saying, oh, God, let's see what Louise Griffin is saying. This year, Doctor Who Day, the anniversary of the day that the iconic sci-fi first aired in 1963, comes at a time when reports and rumours about the show's future are rife. While that's been the case pretty frequently in recent years, it's only increased following the Disney deal, with fans nervous about whether the show will have proven itself enough to continue the relationship with the House of Mouse, especially after all the discussions about the latest season's ratings. Of course, these discussions will continue until Disney makes a decision about future seasons of Doctor Who. Showrunner RTD says that's coming after the next season, but as a long-time fan of the show, I'm not feeling too worried. So when did you start?
What can you define a long-term fan of the show? I wonder how long.
Exactly. Have you been watching prior to Whittaker?
Yeah.
Were you prior to Tennant? She doesn't state, but I guarantee you she hasn't been there for as long as the rest of us. So anyway, she says she's not feeling too worried. Why is that then? Well, Doctor Who's secret weapon has and always will be its ability to reinvent itself, yawn. It was the reason Doctor Who could continue after William Hartnell's exit as the first Doctor, and the reason it could be brought back in 1996 and then again in 2005. And it's the reason millions of viewers tune in every time the Doctor regenerates, except they don't really, do they? Even when people have fallen out of love with the show, hello, welcome to Who's Views, the way it reinvents itself has brought them right back. Except in the case recently, it didn't, did it, darling?
No.
It continues. Right now, Doctor Who is at a crucial moment of reinvention. A season into Ncuti Gatwa's tenure as the Time Lord, and it's into its soft reboot from showrunner Russell T Davies. The show has once again found its voice. We've got at least one spin-off. Yeah, we've got at least one spin-off on the way in the war between the land and the sea. Oh, youpie do. And RTD has hinted that there are more on the way. I don't think so. RTD has also promised a more diverse writing talent for next season after he wrote the majority of the season 14 episodes himself, with one episode being written by fellow former showrunner Stephen Moffat and one penned by Kate Herron and Bryony Redman, with fresh voices being a key way Doctor Who can continue to reinvent itself. He previously has said, I wanted women writing, and I'm aware that we haven't got enough women writing or writers of colour, which we're fixing in the next series to come. Yes, Ian, here we go. And this is so hypocritical because, of course, Russell T Davies can't even tell you what a woman is. It carries on. Kate and I made contact, says Russell T Davies, over Loki. And she then introduced me to Bryony, who might not be so well known unless you move in comedy circles. Where in improv and stand-up, she's a legend, hardly. And they just bring their own style. But what if, after all that, and against all the odds, Disney doesn't commission a third season of Doctor Who? It's certainly possible. But if that does happen, the show would just reinvent itself again. Of course, there are plenty of things that Disney brings to Doctor Who, reportedly a big old budget, but Doctor Who survived before the Disney deal, even on a shoestring budget at points, and I'm sure it would afterwards. You may make the very, very valid point that the Doctor Who hasn't always survived. Ironically, it was the seventh Doctor serial Survival that saw the Doctor, then played by Sylvester McCoy, walk off into the sunset, not to return until 1996, then played by McGann, and then to take another 9 years off from their travels in the TARDIS before returning in 2005, played by Christopher Eccleston. So I'm going to correct that. And then to take another 9 years off from his travels in the TARDIS before returning in 2005 to be played by Christopher Eccleston. But Doctor Who has learnt a lot of lessons since then. Has it really? Never staying static when it comes to story, production value, and even its time slots in the BBC schedule. Not all of the risks have paid off. I can't pretend I didn't almost riot when the Christmas episode shifted to New Year for a good while there, but a hell of a lot of them have. Carol Ann Ford, who starred as the first companion Susan Foreman, previously told the Radio Times that William Hartnell believed Doctor Who could go on forever. She said, Bill used to say it's the very beginning that it could go on forever because there's no reason for it not to, because the Doctors can regenerate again and again and again, and they can go anywhere and do anything so it wouldn't get stale.
He never said that.
He never knew.
Yeah, he didn't even know about this. He didn't even know the word regenerate. They could meet different people, go to different planets. Let's correct the language. He could meet different people, go to different planets, different circumstances. There's no reason at all why it shouldn't stay fresh. There's no reason at all for it to end. It can go on just forever and ever. It was incredible foresight from the man who originated the role of the Doctor, and I think it's profoundly true. Like the Doctor, Doctor Who has had many lives and will continue to have many lives, I'm sure, for decades to come. Some will be more successful than others, and some will be seen as the good old days, and some will be remembered as low points. Some will continuously offer us jelly babies, and this metaphor has run away with me. But like it or not, Doctor Who is made to survive. Until it got to this particular decade, I'd say. What do you guys reckon to this piece?
Well, I love the fact she's making quotes up from the 60s. That's interesting.
I think it'd be more coherent if it had been written by Peter Griffin, I think, to be quite honest, from Family Guy. You know, it's just absolute incoherent rubbish, to be honest. And, you know, talking about, you could get new writers in as if it's something that's unheard of. it was Logopolis into Castrovalva, series 1819, that was the first time 2 stories were written consecutively by the same writer, Bidmead, I believe. So we went for 19 years having series after series after series with every story written by somebody different.
Yeah.
And it's nothing new. It was what's called a winning formula. And the fact that they don't do it now is one of the reasons why it's such a pile of crap, frankly.
Yeah. This is just typical, isn't it? It's absolutely typical of all this sort of stuff. It shows you exactly where this is now. I mean, as I said there, every time I see that quote from the alleged showrunner, I just think, what a hypocrite. You're talking about doing this and taking women on, but you can't even define what a woman is. So how dare you? How dare you try to do that? You know, the fact is as well that all the other stuff she says in there, it shows where you can actually tell she used to work for the Metro. Might even still work for the Metro. This is that liberal lot in London that wouldn't survive in the north of England or in Scotland where it's real, you know, because with their pronouns and all this nonsense. They haven't a hope in hell if they came out of the London area, have they? And she's absolutely insane. A lot of you have got on this as well. Peter Venkman fansite is saying, is she serious? Yes, sadly, she is. She really, really is. And it's incredible. Craig Dunlop saying to us, I hope Doctor Who reinvents itself as good or at least watchable. And Stephen Braddock saying, Doctor Who doesn't even have casual viewers now, let alone millions. It's so diverse, it's an echo chamber, says Peter Venkman. And Schempmeister, yep, just as I expected, another puff piece designed to suck up to RTD. Isn't it just? Isn't it? It's just
what's all the big deal about, you know, we've got to get writers of colour? What does somebody's skin colour matter? They're writing words. Words have no skin colour. What, you know, we've got to have 3 stories written by black people.
Because they've jumped onto this bandwagon, haven't they?
Yeah.
Kirsty's also saying to us here, just because you have boobies, it doesn't make you great at everything, Louise. That's the problem, though, isn't it?
It makes you good at a few things, Kirsty, I have to say.
Schempmeister also saying to us here, given that the tide is turning against DEI nonsense, current Doctor Who is already terribly dated, and the up-and-coming second series will suffer even from this even more. Now, we've been saying this, haven't we, on the show? We asked this question last week on Headlines and the week before, because of what's suddenly gone on in America now, which is hilarious in itself, because the outcome of this is just ridiculous. It's just, oh my God, you know, it's making me laugh, a lot of it. But Doctor Who Series 2 is, Schempmeister, I think, out of date, and there's no way it's going to be successful in America, where they all want it to be successful. Can you not think? I mean, there's no way people are going to watch this nonsense, is there? Let's be honest.
No. DEI didn't earn it.
Yeah,
there's that comes into it as well. And Mark Postgate is saying to us, the writers of colour, I've got a green ballpoint. Is that the sort of thing they mean?
No, they use crayons. I think that's what they do. So.
I found the whole article very interesting, everybody, because I thought that this person's an alleged fan, and it shows the sort of alleged fan I wouldn't necessarily want to be talking to. Yeah, because you know, I would just say I wouldn't understand them. I wouldn't be able to relate to them, which as fans is alien to me, because they're usually able to relate to a fan in any way because we've got one big thing in common, and it's the love for the show. But all this lot wants to do is, oh, how many tick boxes were in each episode? How many writers of colour? How many queer actors or writers were in this? This is dangerous for Doctor Who, I think. I think we've started seeing it coming in. I think it's going to alienate more of us. What do you guys reckon?
I agree.
Well, I sincerely hope so, because I think it needs to be changed, because it's not, we're losing our favourite programme, and it doesn't have to be like this at all.
I don't think we're losing it. I think we've lost it.
We've lost
I
it.
genuinely don't think it'll be... When the BBC finally wake up and realise that it's just a rotting corpse and has been rotting for a while and dead obviously even longer, they'll, especially, I think probably the trigger for that might be Disney pulling out. Let's hope it happens.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that they will have a root and branch rethink and relaunch it again with new people, or try what they've tried before or say, well, let's get Moffat back or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think they'll just kill it stone dead.
I hope so.
Russell was maybe the last chance, so they've had that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, considering what happened after Chibnall, as we all know. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm actually at this point. I'm one of the thousands of fans, if not millions of fans now, that just say, take it off the air. It's embarrassing right now.
Yeah.
When people say to me now, "Oh, you're a Doctor Who fan," I'll say, up to this point, I am very specific. I'll say up to this year, up to that bit there, and they'll go, "Oh yeah, because it went down after that, didn't it?" Even the great British public know that as soon as Capaldi was booted off, allegedly, there's no series.
I remember in the 80s when they had a hiatus and then Sylvester took over, and a lot of fandom hated that era of the show and wanted it to be pulled and didn't like it. But I don't think even at the bits that people didn't like in the 80s, it's nothing like how bad it is now. You know?
Anybody disagree? I certainly don't disagree with that,
No.
Paul. Absolutely.
No.
What you're saying to us in the chat, Stephen Braddock is saying to us, God, why is everything about identity and gender? I wish I knew. I wish I knew why these worthless liberals have got themselves into this mess. But we're now seeing it all unraveling, aren't we? I mean, you know, the hypocrisy comes out with them all. They get themselves tied up in knots with certain things. They're always apologizing. They're always on their knees for something. You know, it's so damaging to society. It's absolutely ridiculous. And now it's all, they shove it into the entertainment. The entertainment, I've said it before, it must be one of the most poisonous, if not the most poisonous entertainment industry in the world because of all their delusions. You can't tell fantasy from reality, for crying out loud. And let's face it, they're only actors, most of them. You know, it's just, oh, please, they live in fancy Gaga land. She gets paid to share her own worthless opinions, says Julianne, and secondhand chat she looked up on Google. It's nice work if you can get it. Yeah, I'd agree with that one as well. And Paul Stanford saying to us, forget about all this diversity hiring. How about getting talented writers with a proven track record? But then, of course, RTD couldn't virtue signal. There must surely be actors of a certain age there that aren't getting employed now because of all this stuff, like Gareth, for example, like Gareth Robertson, who can write a proper Doctor Who story or a science fiction story. And no, J.K. Rowling's still doing it, for heaven's sake. Not I'm saying she can come to Doctor Who. She wouldn't want to because it's down there in the gutter for her, isn't it? But there must be writers that they could possibly go to. But no, they're going to people who tick the box so that they can push their agenda on the rest of us. And we don't want it.
But the BBC
just
as a whole
write a proper Doctor Who story. That's what we want, you know.
But they want as scripts, they want quotas, don't they? So they impose on you so many different edicts, you know, so many of this character, so many of that type, you know, so many of this demographic. You've got to put them all in, completely unreflective of what real life is like. But perhaps that's what in their little bubble they think is real life. You know, perhaps they think the rest of Britain is like that cesspit that is London, you know.
Yeah. And yeah, I've got, I mean, Emilio's in London, for example. I've got some friends in London that say, well, look, there are some people that don't agree with this, but they're in a situation now where they're too frightened to say so because the majority of it is there. You know, when it comes to Pride Month or the Pride event in London, everywhere turns into the TQ cult flags. And it's an awful lot of people. You've got a mayor down there who's ruling the roost in the dictatorial way that he's doing, demanding that people are using all this nonsense and using pronouns and changing the name of streets because of links to slave trades. There are reasons they are there. There are reasons that streets have a link to the slave trade to remind us how bad it was. You know, it's not celebrating necessarily; it's honoring our past so that we can remember certain things. If you rewrite things, we can't get it corrected because people will forget. Oh, it's just so.
But the fact that he doesn't get that shows what kind of an idiot he is, doesn't it? Really,
he's totally idiot. And the fact that he's I don't want to talk about him. What an idiot! Bill Lowry saying to us, "We're not worried about the series surviving. We're worried it will continue to be crap."
Yes.
I'm not even worried about that anymore, Bill, because I've just resigned myself to the fact that what I've seen this year was utter nonsense. And there's more coming, at least one more season. I would like it to end after that, please. We know there is no Christmas special yet in the can for 2025. I'm hoping that will be it. I'm hoping they don't get the call back now, to be honest.
I'm hoping it will be as well, but I have a horrible feeling in my water that it's going to get a third series. I really do.
Well, we've always said that there's probably going to be some sort of third version of this nonsense.
It'll be more stuff to laugh at, won't it?
Yeah.
And of course, if it's good, it's good, and it'll get praise, especially here.
Well, the water between the land and the sea looks superb, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So it's authentic Sea Devils.
Yes.
Show needs to get rid of the cliché showrunner, says Eddie. And Martin Manif is making the point that RTD should step down and let a showrunner of colour replace him. They never do, though, do they? The hypocrites.
He doesn't believe it that much, does he? He's not that committed to the cause.
Yeah, no, you tell them all. It's like these people that are going on about, oh, we need to have all these people coming into the country. We need to have all these people coming into the country. And then you'll interview them and you'll say, right, so how many are you going to take?
Well, he did he
not say somewhere, though, that he wasn't going to give out too many commissions because he wants to make a living himself? Like, he needs the money, you know?
Yes, well, that was us. We said that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
We talked about that the other week. He'd said, why am I going to, in another article, by the way, that these people don't realize we go and research everything and we'll read everything and then we'll report it back here on headlines. But, it's a case of like, he said, and I'm paraphrasing here, why would I want to give away the duties of script writing? Because that's how I get paid.
Yeah.
And then he also gets paid to throw run the job.
Yeah.
And he'll get share income from Bad Wolf. But he did have a black guy doing the music, but he brought Murray Gold in, didn't he?
Yeah.
Very diverse.
Yeah, and yet they're all bending the knee for all this cause. Please. Rick Storm, casting is crap, the writing is crap, the DEI crap, the acting is crap, Bad Wolf crap, BBC crap, Butcher Classic Stories crap, merchandise sales for New Who crap, look on RTD's face when he finally gets fired, priceless. Thanks for that, Rick Storm. Very, very, very good. And Marjorie is, as ever, talking sense here. Just get talented writers who know how to write good stories and people who can act. The problem is they won't, because they're going to go for the tick box thing, because that's the common sense approach, isn't it? Because they're worried about how it looks and the report and what they would have to report back to the BBC, who would probably allegedly report back to the Stonewall Paymasters or whoever else it's going to be. How many DEI people have you supported and recognized and validated in your 8 episodes? It's utter nonsense, isn't it? I mean, the last 2 we had in, those 2 women gave us Rogue, for crying out loud. One of the worst episodes.
That was a cracking episode, that one. Yeah.
Unbelievable nonsense. And I'm saying that as a gay man. What an insult the whole thing was. Problem Being's with us as well. Nice to see you, mate. Hope you're well. And we've got here Bill Larry saying to us, the Wokerati in the UK will be supported by all the Yanks running from Trump. There's definitely a sense, I think, that the tide is changing against all this in the last couple of weeks. People seem to be a little bit more confident in coming out and saying, this is nonsense. Have you seen this, guys?
Yeah, people are a little bit more empowered to say what they feel.
Yeah.
Because there has been quite a period of people staying quiet because they just don't want to be the grief that comes with being labelled an istphobe or not. Because let's face it, they've had people lose their jobs for accusations like that, and the tide is changing, and so it should, and it's them that should get called out, and hopefully will do.
Yeah.
We've got here from David Harding, as a mid to left liberal, I sincerely hope the DEI crap is coming to an end. I don't like the far right, but I don't like the far left either. They're the same thing. Yeah. And as far as I'm concerned right now, it's not the right or the far right, as people seem to think. I don't know why people are so worried about or scared of this. It's brainwashing. You've got to have the yin and yang. You've got to have the balance. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm more frightened of the far left, because they're the ones that are, strangely, enforcing speech, burning books, telling us how to live our lives, dismantling democracy on a daily basis, sulking over democratic outcomes because they don't understand democracy and want it demolished. I could go on, but they frighten me more than the alleged far right, I have to say. And I'm speaking now from probably centre right now, to be quite honest.
Apart from a few nut jobs, which every country has, Britain doesn't really have a far right issue at all. It's just used in the same term of istphobe and ot as a way of shutting people down, because they think people don't want to be labelled far right. But like everything else, it becomes powerless now. If somebody called me a racist or a homophobe, it would not mean the slightest to me because I'm not, and they're full of it.
Yeah. And the fact is, we've been called it so many times now. All of these words have been, have lost their power, and that's shocking for me when I see the amount of actual real homophobia around now that come from the left. It's coming from the left, not the right. It comes from the left. Things are changing. The world has changed. The left has become the right and the right has become the left. I think that's the way I look at this. And I look at that from my own personal point where, as I've said before on the show, I never saw any differences. I just saw another person. But now, thanks to the segregational tactics of the left, I see everything that comes towards me now. And I feel terrible because I just think, no, this is not who you are. You shouldn't be seeing that. You shouldn't be putting person there because that's what they're telling us to do so that they understand everybody. I think it's ridiculous. Robin Calvert's got a question. Does this mean the only white British writers will be the showrunners? Not necessarily. Personally, I would like to get the whole showrunner thing gone because that's an American thing. It doesn't really suit British television. I want to bring Doctor Who back with a producer and a script editor.
The question is anyway, can you do the job? That's the thing. And if you can't do the job, you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. That's a great answer. Yeah. Hire the right person for the job. It shouldn't matter about the color of their eyes, their hair, their skin color, whether they're male or female, their sexuality. Who can do the job? Who has the ideas? Who can get it done properly? Who's going to make it popular? Nobody at the moment. I can't think of anybody. No. DEI, says Paul Rose, has killed the whole entertainment industry. A lot of big names won't be recoverable. Unfortunately, Who may be one of them. Oh, I've no doubt.
Yeah.
I've no doubt. It certainly has killed.
P. Davis will never live it down. Him, Moffat, Chibnall, they will never live it down. This thing that lasted through thick and thin, they killed it.
And we must never let them forget. Millywig Zed, nice to see you. I've been watching some North Korean TV pirate streams. That's something you don't hear every day. It feels like total escapism. Maybe dictatorships are the new fantasy. Ha ha ha. All hail Kim Yun Starmer, glorious leader of Great Black Rock. Oh, yeah. Interesting that, though, isn't it? I never thought about that. Yeah, very interesting. And hello to Soft TV. Nice to see you, mate. Hi, folks. I'm currently listening to the soundtrack of Marco Polo. That's how I spent Doctor Who Day yesterday, and it's so much better than anything RTD has ever done. Could you please review Marco Polo? Yes, is the answer to that at some point.
One of my favorites. I love Marco Polo. Yeah.
We will absolutely. Yes, is the answer. We intend to review everything at some point. It's just trying to span it out, basically, so that we're doing things to make sure everybody's happy. Yes, including some of the new lot. Never Whittaker, he adds very quickly. Julianne, what are you saying to us, Julianne? Disney are having a financial nightmare with the DEI backlash. Rachel Zegler is single-handedly costing them hundreds of millions. I'd be very surprised if there's any more money for RTD's Who. They should just axe that Snow White before it gets to the cinema, shouldn't it? Because only the people that are living in Cloud Cuckoo Land and aren't aware of this thing because they've probably got proper lives are going to go and see it with the kids. You wouldn't take a norm. You wouldn't if you're aware of what she's been saying and how narcissistic and imbalanced she is. You're not going to go and see that film.
I'm a big Batman fan, and I never found out, got to the bottom of why the Batgirl movie was shelved. Was it really, really woke? That's why they stopped it, or was it was actually maybe trying to come back from the wokeness and actually be quite good? I don't know, but I've never found out why it was cancelled.
It's just.
It was right in the middle of ultra woke, though, wasn't it? It was in that maximum. Yeah. Time. So
I wonder if it was so woke it was cancelled, or was it was actually quite good and they didn't
well, she's obviously had a detrimental effect on her own career because she was in that prequel, I think it was, to the Hunger Games films. It's flopped. You can now get it already on Blu-ray, DVD, and streaming. It came and went like a summer cloud here in the UK in the cinemas because people just weren't going to see it, so they all axed it very quickly. It did a week or 2 weeks or something like that, allegedly. But if these alleged celebrities are going to do that, well, more fool them, as we've discovered with Mr. Tennant and other people allegedly here throughout the year. Just seen online, says Steve Braddock, a guy who worked on the up-and-coming Christmas special. He said you'll enjoy it if you go in thinking it'll be bad. Oh dear. Well, I do, so I'll probably love it. Gosh, that's not good from some member of staff who's probably getting hunted down right now to be given the chop. Let's face it. Yeah, so lots of comments, as I say, coming through from the chat, everybody. It's great to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Nibbles is saying, at least we have Who's Views to laugh at it. And cry. And cry, I would think.
Yeah.
Now leave the crying to Shooty. He'll do plenty of it.
Yeah, I want to say hello to Mrs. Lisa Pertwee that was with us as well, who's been watching. Nice to see you. Hope you are well. And Lee Smith is saying this is turd season. Yeah, but thank you everybody for seeing it. It's sad, isn't it sad, says Craig Dunlop, that we as Doctor Who fans' greatest wish right now is for the show to get cancelled. I'll never forgive RTD or Chibnall et al. For all of that, and we should never forgive them.
Yeah.
Don't forget, and don't forgive. No. Gosh, it is. I just thought that article was very interesting for you all, everybody, because it says that we shouldn't be worried, but we are. We're all worried. Not so much about the show coming off, but how worse it can get.
Yeah. And
how much more embarrassment we're going to have to go through in the next year or two. But there we go. Hello, everybody. You're watching Headlines. This is your Sunday Big Show. We are here on Who's Views. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you have subscribed to the channel already, please make sure you have still subscribed. That's all we can say on that one, because we don't know what's going on, but apparently it's still going on, though. Yes, we've just been talking about the article from the Radio Times to say that we as fans should not be worried. Most of the fans, quite honest, as we've discovered, don't really care. These people really need to get that into their head. The next thing that's coming, of course, from Doctor Who is this. And did you see these sort of things that were released yesterday on the 23rd of November as well? This is the BBC's official picture for the next episode of Doctor Who, which, as we know, is called Joy to the World. And isn't it awful? What is this?
Why is there a TARDIS teapot? I don't understand.
And why is there a rip-off police box on the top right there? It looks like one of those things you'll find in those sort of arty type shops with all the wooden animals and stuff.
And why are they standing in front of a Stargate?
Yeah. And anyway, what rot. More of that is coming up in the show, so stay with us, everybody, as we move on to our next story now. Because have you heard? The BBC doesn't have any hit shows. Wow, shocker. This has come from this in the Telegraph. The BBC hasn't come up with a hit show in 5 years, reports James Warrington on the November the 20th. Now, this is from a report from the National Audit Office, everybody. So let's get, this is a big one, so stay with us here. Let's get into this. The BBC has not created a new TV hit for 5 years, the public spending watchdog has said, highlighting the broadcaster's reliance on existing shows such as Strictly Come Dancing. Just to put into context there, this year on BBC One, Strictly Come Dancing is celebrating its 20th anniversary. Yeah, there we go. The National Audit Office, NAO, said the BBC's commercial division has repeatedly missed targets for creating new programmes in recent years, meaning it makes most of its money from old shows that were first released decades ago. Does this sound familiar to you all yet? Mm-hmm. Of the broadcaster's 10 most profitable shows last year, only one, a soft drama series from 2019, was created by BBC Studios, while 3 were made for other companies. Instead, the majority of last year's hits came from series dating back decades, including Doctor Who, EastEnders, Casualty, Silent Witness, and Strictly Come Dancing. This will serve as a blow to Tim Davie, Director General, who has set out plans to double the size of its commercial arm, BBC Studios, by 2027. This forms part of his bid to raise revenues to offset dwindling income from the license fee. The NAO, sorry for laughing. The NAO report comes as the BBC gears up for negotiations with the government over the future of the licence fee funding model. The licence fee, which supports the BBC's public service obligations, remains its largest source of funding at $3.7 billion last year. As part of Mr. Davies' strategy, the corporation is aiming to increase the number of shows it produces for other broadcasters and streaming services, while also generating more money from in-house hits such as Doctor Who. The NAO warned that while the BBC's commercial income from new programmes has increased significantly from 90 million in 2018 to 19.7 million last year, it had still fallen short of the internal targets. At the same time, income from existing intellectual property has fallen from 416 million to 360 million over the same period. Meanwhile, the NAO found that the BBC was increasingly producing shows for rivals such as Netflix and Amazon Prime. BBC Studios' most profitable shows from 2023 to 24 are Doctor Who, 1963, EastEnders, 1985, Casualty, 86, Silent Witness, 96, Strictly Come Dancing, 2004, Planet Earth 2, 2006, a third-party lifestyle format, 2010, that could be the Bake Off or something like that, third-party scripted drama series, 2011, soft drama series, 2019, and third-party game show format, 2022. Alongside production, BBC Studios also oversees commercial broadcaster channels, including UK TV and global streaming services such as BritBox International. The NAO found that the BBC had increased its investment in streaming and digital as audiences increasingly shun traditional TV. Income from these operations has increased from 161 million in 2018 to 539 million last year, 2023. However, the watchdog warned it would be challenging for the BBC to double its commercial operations by 2028 because of a wider downturn in the sector. Income from BBC Studios has grown over the last 5 years. However, revenues fell by 253 million last year to 1.8 billion, while profits sank by a fifth to 202 million as spending on shows suffered from rising interest rates and the Hollywood writers' strikes. The NAO warned that the BBC's expansion plans could be at risk if the market does not recover as quickly as expected. The watchdog said the corporation should review its strategy for producing new programs to ensure long-term sustainable returns. It added that bosses should consider whether the financial targets for BBC Studios should be updated in the light of market downturn. Sir Geoffrey Clifton-Brown, chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, said BBC Studios has so far been successful in exceeding its income and profit expectations. It now faces significant challenges in realising its ambitious plans for future growth. It has diversified its business to adapt to changes in a fiercely competitive market, but is falling short of its targets for producing new intellectual property through content creation. BBC Studios must strike the right balance between generating short-term returns to the BBC and delivering sustainable growth that will enable it to keep up in this dynamic market. A spokesman for BBC Studios said, "As demand has changed, we've pursued a strategy that allows us to flex between owned IP and producing platform-defining shows, finding the route that creates most value. In this period, we've brought Bluey, the most streamed show in the US, to new audiences and evolved existing hits like Doctor Who and Strictly Come Dancing. As demand has changed, we pursued a strategy." Yep, there we go. Maintaining their must-see status for today's audience. There it is. Maintaining their must-see status for today's audiences. "We will continue to showcase Creative UK and bring new titles to international audiences."
Is this official confirmation that Doctor Who's not doing very well?
That's exactly what I was going to ask you guys, because if you read between the lines there, they're crowing on about how Doctor Who is an integral part of the mix from BBC Studios. But which Doctor Who? I bet you it's 63 to 89.
Yeah.
What do you make of that, everybody? Let us know in the chat. Guys, initial reactions to that very wordy but incredibly interesting story.
Well, like you say, it seems like it's not the BBC and Doctor Who, even though Doctor Who's at the top, isn't doing very well, is it?
Sounds like they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Definitely sounds like they're in trouble. And I don't think their downturn is necessarily due to wider market forces. I think it's them not creating what people want to see, so people are switching off. It's not a coincidence that their downturn is also at the same time as so many people are cancelling their TV licenses. People do not like the BBC anymore. They see the BBC as anti-British. They see the BBC as anti-white. They see the BBC as being horrendously woke. and very divisive, and they see the BBC as trying to socially engineer. You know, we've seen it everywhere else. Their shows, what they do produce, it'll have a quota of these, it'll have a quota of those. The relationships will often be mixed with the woman being white to a dominant black male and stuff like that. And people are sick of it. It's not reflective of real society. It might be reflective of Islington, but it isn't reflective of the rest of Britain. And they don't see the BBC as being for them or representative of them. It sees them as being against them. So they're turning their back on it. And I think that trend will continue. And it should be completely defunded and stand on its own 2 feet. And then we'll see how successful it is.
Well, I guarantee you that I think it's common sense to say it would fall flat on its face within the year, because they don't have, as this article is saying, as this report from the National Audit Office has reported, it's not producing the content that is popular, and it's not producing enough content to make it work in a commercial viable situation, which makes me wonder, what's the point of BBC Studios? Because that's what it was there to do. It was there to look after any merchandise, and it was also there to develop, of course, and it evolved into running its own shows, producing its own shows. But this opens up the whole thing here about why deals such as the Disney deal are a big deal for the BBC Studios, which is, say, the commercial arms of the BBC, because they obviously see this as a way of third-party partnerships, giving them content, possibly even allegedly propping them up, keeping them going. We have to report as well that, you know, more people this year have cancelled their BBC television license, which is not going to help BBC TV at all. It's now gone into millions of people, millions and millions of people here in the UK, for the reasons that Ian has put out there, are not paying the BBC. They're not doing it. They're not watching the television. They've just cancelled. I think the BBC is in a real unsafe situation here, and it's very interesting. But as I say, when it comes to Doctor Who, I think it's the original Doctor Who that's making the money for them, because it's still selling.
Bedweir's actually just made a comment in the chat, 9:55 p.m. That effectively just backs up exactly what you've just said there, JT.
Yeah, he's saying Doctor Who 1963 covers all of the show, luckily for studios, so they can hide behind the success of classic era merchandise. It's absolutely right. I think you're right there with Raymond Williams is also saying no surprise. There isn't really, was it? But for Doctor Who fans, I think it's interesting to look at this side of stuff and see what's being reported, because here is the National Audit Office coming out and saying, in a nutshell, what are you doing, BBC? What are you doing? You know, you've got this model. You're saying you're going to do this and this. Again, I think it's possibly the wrong people in control of this and looking at this and living in their own bubble, as you've said there, Dr. Ian. I think that's a real case. Pileo Clive, 1684. Many BBC old shows are classics. Show them instead of lefty programming, and viewing figures might be boosted. Otherwise, the BBC is irrelevant or a turn-off to most people.
They'll just be cut to shreds, though. That's the problem.
Well, yeah. When you get complaints about BBC shows in a bigger scale now, in our day, of course, all you had was points of view, a 5 or 10 minute program, if that, where you wrote in, and if you were lucky, out of the thousands of letters, yours would get written out and say, "Dear BBC, I didn't like this." Now the public is controlled, because the public can do shows like this. The public can go onto social media and say, "Did you see such and such?" The outcry after the recent editions of the once funny "Have I Got News for You" is intense. Who's watching that nonsense now? It certainly isn't the majority of the public. I might actually go and look and see what their ratings are like, because it must be 2 million, if that, because it's incredibly extreme left-wing, going back to that saying, you know, and apparently they were getting everything. And when you have somebody like Wheeler Ian Kelly, that's great, hosting it, I think it says it all, quite frankly. That's what, well, BBC, that's what happens when you vacate the wonderful BBC TV centre and stop making programmes altogether. Calm as a bitch, ain't it? That's where I think it's all gone wrong for the BBC, when they stopped having the in-house stuff of everybody being around, because they wanted to have the regional. They had the regional setups anyway. We were talking about one last night, Pebble Mill. They had BBC Scotland, they had BBC Wales all in place. Why didn't they just say, start making good stuff that can go national, everybody? I don't get it. What else we got in the chats here then? thank you also to Graham, who's saying to us here, I literally don't watch any modern telly whatsoever. Thank God for the network DVDs and channels like Talking Pictures.
Yeah.
This is something the BBC, Paul, never saw 15 years ago, or 20 years ago. They never saw really properly their competition would increase so dramatically.
Well, Talking Pictures, I know I've talked about quite a lot, is a fantastic channel. And they do put disclaimers on before old films and old shows and whatever, but they leave it on intact. They don't cut it. And that is remarkable in this day and age where you can't, I've seen episodes of Steptoe and Son have bits cut out, but you can still see the actor's lips moving because they just cut out the word that's offensive, or they've pixelated someone doing that or something. Well, it's ridiculous.
Who would it be offensive to? Somebody that shouldn't be watching the show anyway. In our
exactly.
You turned it off, or you turned over, or you laughed at it because we were younger. But our parents and grandparents would just go, "Oh, for heaven's sake," and turn it off and then forget about it. Yeah. These days, everybody takes everything so personally. Grow up, for heaven's sake, society. That's what I say.
I think sometimes it's not going to offend anybody. It's just the people that are the overlords, if you like, decide that people will be offended, and they take offense on other people's behalf. And it's often people who wouldn't give a toss at all, but they take the moral high ground. That's very arrogant. That's very presumptuous. But they have this holier than thou attitude that makes them just enforce cuts because they perceive people will be offended.
And we see that in Doctor Who, and we see it in a lot of the shows, actually, and a lot of stuff on the BBC where their opinion is enforced on us. This is why that side, as I was saying before, frightened me more than anybody else, because they're saying, you must live your life the way we want you to. You must think the way we want you to. That's a dictatorship. And they don't realize they are a dictatorship. And that's what they're about. And the BBC's full of this. But as you said, Ian, people have waking up to this over the last few years. And, especially since 2020, where people really started to say, I'm not paying for this. I'm not going to be told I'm an otter, an ist, or a phobe. No. And that's where 2020 really saw an increase on the license fee payers leaving and stopping to pay their license. As Paul Stentor was saying to us here, the BBC doesn't care if it makes hit shows. As long as they keep getting public money via the license fee and don't have to attract advertisers, they are happy to put out their usual dross. But the problem is now, as it says in that article, they're not getting the money in anymore. It has gone down because people have cancelled their license. They're not paying it. That's going to have a massive impact. And it already has started to have a massive impact. So people like BBC Studios are important. They've got to now start looking at programming that people want to see. So they're already making programs, as we know, and have reported before, for people like Amazon Prime, Netflix, even ITV, right?
Yeah.
Because the industry has changed that much. They can do that. But is it the content that we all want to see? Let's look at Doctor Who. Do we all want that now? Does the general public all want that? Obviously not, because the ratings were dire.
They need to start working for their money. That's the problem,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's too much to ask anybody in the entertainment industry.
Probably.
Work,
but in terms of creating content that's good is what I mean, really. It's kind of, you want to, here's your money, but you have to do X, Y, and Z to earn it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's an awful lot of this around TARDIS travels. May go bust, go woke, go broke. They're not learning from this. None of them are learning from this. It's so true. And poor Rose, how can they generate more revenue from Who when no one wants to watch it or buy the merchandise? I've no idea. Well, the big seller for them at the moment, of course, is anything with the original 7 Doctors on it. Let's look at the Blu-rays. Massive sellers, twice over, which is why I don't understand why the standard editions are not coming out as regularly, because they are big money earners as well as the limited editions. We know that. It's interesting, isn't it? But Doctor Who is still a big seller. But this is what I'm trying to say from that report. I don't think it's the majority of the new series. I think it's the original. And don't forget, this will also include foreign sales as well, which is still going on, I would imagine. I don't think Disney have the right to actually distribute original Doctor Who. It's just the new nonsense from Ncuti Gatwa onwards, or Tennant onwards in his second version, if you know what I'm saying. I think the BBC can still go to a new network, or even develop a new network like they've done with UK TV, and sell it to say, here's 26 years of fantastic television British show programming, and we want you to buy it, and here's the back catalogue from 100 years of BBC television. What do you want? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think the reason why the standard editions aren't coming out quick enough is partly because allegedly probably Cardiff are stopping it because they don't want these reminders of how good classic was compared to the new crap. You know,
if that's true, then that's just petty because
I wouldn't
again, they're
surprise me
not
though.
thinking.
Yeah,
But if that was true, and I would hope it isn't been, but if that was
yeah.
true, and anybody is stopping the release of these things, then they're killing the corporation's business side,
But they've
commercial
already
side.
killed it, haven't they? Just about, haven't they? You know.
Well,
Well, you
you know,
saw
I
how
mean,
they
it's more money.
reacted. You saw how they reacted to the trailer for the Series 15 box set. You know, better
Yes.
than any
Yeah.
episode, and all of a sudden there will be no more.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't because they
I think that
can't
was
do
more.
anymore.
I think that was more. I believe what they're actually saying there about saying, "Oh, I'm fed up with writing this," because there's one person thinking about all this and think that that's going to take a creative strain. And there was nothing wrong with the trailers that we were getting before, rather than thinking up a whole story, which were costing money, which BBC Studios is allegedly not earning back. You know, and it's all tied in with this article that we were looking at here. Audiences are shunning commercial television because you don't make anything worthwhile to watch. Exactly the point I'm trying to make, Stephen Braddock. The BBC programme output was once the envy of the world, but they sold it all off and closed it all down. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bluey is 1,000 times better than Doctor Who, says Rick Storm. And where, asking Paul Richards, are the new hit BBC sitcoms?
Yeah.
You look at all these repeat channels, Paul Richards, and you look at all these ones that, you know, and you see all these classic bits of comedy, whether it be ITV or the BBC, from Terrier June on the BBC to Only When I Laugh on ITV. And sometimes they put them all back to back. And you can sit there for hours and laugh.
Yeah.
And then you think, they don't make them like this anymore.
Yeah.
Because the current comics are crap. Name me a current comic that's funny. I'll wait.
The thing about the sitcoms are that they're not comics, they're comedy actors, which is a huge difference. And they're good comedy actors as well.
Mark's reminded me here that I didn't report tonight that BBC Studios borrows £700 million. We have spoken about that in a previous edition, but yes, they did. They allegedly borrowed £700 million. And there was a plan for the BBC to borrow even more as part of this thing that the National Audit Office report has put out there about their KPIs and their targets, where they want to go with BBC Studios.
It's a lot of money.
It is, yeah.
Especially when they have to pay it back. What makes you think they might get let off? You know.
I just think it's all very, 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 very strange, and it's something I think that we should all keep an eye on here on Whose Views and Headlines and see what the best is. Because when somebody like the National Audit Office report is coming out saying, "Hey, BBC, do you realise you don't have any hit shows, and that everything that is a hit for you is from a legacy?" The first one being Doctor Who from 1963. I hope they're concerned. I'm not really. I wouldn't care less if the BBC disappeared in an hour's time. Don't really care. I can't stand it with Marjorie's also saying they're talking about Doctor Who 63 to 89. I totally agree. I totally think they have. But, you know, I don't like it when fans come back saying, how can you be so, alleged fans come back saying, how can you be so anti-BBC? If you don't have the BBC, there's no Doctor Who. Nonsense. Absolutely nonsense. BBC Studios own Doctor Who now. They could produce it and put it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the rule book to say it has to be on BBC One. It's just that that's what we're used to.
Yeah.
You know? And as Doctor Who fans, if it's good, they could produce it, stick it on a DVD and Blu-ray, and we'll go and buy it.
Yeah.
You know? Like they were going to do with The Dark Dimension. But, you know, straight to video type thing, we would go and buy it, wouldn't we?
But we got Dimension the Time instead.
Shut up.
At least it had dimension in it.
I had this similar word in it. Yeah.
Lots of you in the chat here with your opinions. This is fantastic. Thank you so much for your opinions and sharing them all with us. Paleo Clive again. The future of viewing is online. Young people, conditioned left or otherwise, are staring at other screens. Based YT or pre-woke DVDs are where most of us are watching content our age. I agree with that. Totally agree with that. I absolutely do. And I've said it before. I don't think 18-plus-year-olds are paying for the license because they're not interested in the BBC. The BBC lost young people when they moved children's BBC off BBC One and gave it its own channel. They had to go and find it. If it was on BBC One where we all had it, the BBC would have had youngsters coming to watch good quality stuff. Not that it would have been, because look at the nonsense they're peddling out to some of them. But that's how we all retained loyalty to the BBC, wasn't it? We were watching Blue Peter and Rent-A-Ghost and Jack and Nuri and Tony Hart, Swap Shop, Saturday Superstore. They gave us stuff there. They were so clever back then because they gave us good entertainment, which meant we were BBC kids. And therefore, when it came to the time where we got our own places and we got our own televisions, we just went automatically to say, yeah, I'll pay the license. We didn't question it. Now we question it. And now the youngsters don't even think about getting it. So I totally agree with you, Paleo Clive. What do you guys make of that?
Well, I mean, it's basically now just a load of old crap, so no one wants it. That's the thing. And young people aren't watching any terrestrial TV anyway. If they are watching TV, they're watching streaming services, aren't they?
We've got to remember that there are some content. Sorry, Ian, go on.
No, I was just going to say, following on from what Paul said, why would you bother paying for a license if you're not in the vaguest bit interested in what they're spewing out?
Exactly.
You just wouldn't bother. You wouldn't do it. You know, if their favorite content is from a streamer or a YouTube channel, and here's a good one, then why would you bother with BBC naffness? And it is naff.
And in this day and age, as we all know, there are certain fantastic content creators on this platform that now have over 1 million or 2 million subscribers, whatever it's going to be, or people watching them in their millions. Some of them are very close to actually hitting the same sort of viewership as Doctor Who does currently.
Yeah,
they're that close. And when I see things like that, I just have to chuckle, because you're right. This is the future. They've got to move with it. A lot of us now are producers, are content creators. We can do it. In America, of course, the big boys will do it more because there's more of them. But I just think it's amazing. I think it's absolutely amazing. And this is where these young people are going to be in the future. So I totally agree with what you're all saying there. Paul Rose is saying, I honestly believe the license will be gone within a decade now. I'm not sure. Oh, you're pointing it out. Not quite yet, though, as Starmer praised them just the other day. I know. It shows how much he doesn't know, doesn't it? We won't get into that one, but
well, they're his mouthpiece, aren't they? They're challenging anything that criticizes him. So they're going out of their way to. I mean, you saw on the farmers' protest there was Jeremy Clarkson there. So they sent out Victoria Derbyshire. They sent out Victoria Derbyshire just to try and bait him about his farm being a tax dodge. And you know, she was stupid because she had her arse handed to her, because she picked on somebody who was very eloquent, very acid, and just was able to just knock it right out the park. And she.
But also, the other thing they don't realize is if you're going to spout all this nonsense, the truth will hit you, because that's the key to all this now. I know this through certain debates I have. As long as you stick to the facts, as long as you stick to the science, whatever it's going to be in the context of this is why Rowling has them all the time, because she sticks to facts and basic truths. They can't challenge you because they're all made up in fantasy Gaga land, you know? That was a shocking thing, though, the other day. It's no wonder that people are coming away from the BBC in droves and droves, because they suddenly see things like that and they go, I can't support this. Hello, can I cancel my license fee? Killbot Kill is saying, of course the money is coming from the collection Blu-ray sales. I will put money on Blake 7 adding more. The Blake 7 season 1 box set has been a huge hit for them. It's been fantastic. It really has. And congratulations to the people that put that together, who are the same people who put the Doctor Who ones together. But yes, I'm sure they weren't surprised. I certainly wasn't surprised that it was so big. But there you go. Another stream. Sadly, there's only 3 left to come. Komodo, BBC Verify is a vehicle to shut down free speech and views that don't follow the narrative. Why BBC Verify was suddenly asked to look at government documents, I have no idea. What was that? That's dodgy as hell as well. It's the BBC.
They're the ones that are headed up by Mariana Spring, aren't they?
Apparently,
who allegedly lied on her CV. She probably went to the same class as Rachel Reeves. Really.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
M&S tagline would suit them now. It's not just crap, it's BBC crap, says Rick Storm. And I read today, says Eddie, that the license fee will be staying but modernised, whatever that means. This is a quote from the new BBC boss. Everything's going to be modernised in the BBC. They say it all the time. The BBC's under... how many times in our lifetime has the BBC now been modernised? The big one being in the 80s with Michael Grade, of course, and then the one in the 90s. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. How many times can they do it? And it's still not right. No comedy. Remember all different sorts of sitcoms throughout the week when I was a kid? Exactly. They're now too afraid of offending anyone, and we live in a sad society, says Raymond Williams. We really do. It's gone too far, hasn't it? It's gone too far with people tripping over each other, trying not to offend everybody. Shocking.
If you're
And Robin,
offended, turn over or turn off. That's it.
exactly. And
Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
now it's gone the other way. People are so offended by the stuff that they're being told that they should like, they've switched off and cancelled their fees.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, listen, for these people in show business, you've got to listen to us. Hopefully the next few years we'll see where we're going on that one. I don't know. The BBC needs to restructure finances, lose some presenters and satellite channels to get drama output where it was, says Robin Calvert. I also seem to think that they need to have people who are talented and not infected by this virus that's going through them all, and get rid of the DEI thing. That's killing everything. It really is killing everything. It's, you know, it's just nonsense now. It's gone too far. And they're all too busy saying, oh, we've got to write this script that has this in it. What should we write about?
Yeah.
I bet, says Paul Richards, classic Who ratings on iPlayer are better than new Who's ratings. We're never going to know. I've been asking about how we can get the figures for that, and I've been told we won't get them.
If they calculate them the same way they're calculating new Who, they're going to be through the roof.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Because they add it on to the original rating. So let's see where City of Death is now, shall we?
50 million, perhaps. No,
it must be huge.
Yeah.
It must be. It must be. I don't know. It's all very, very sad. I think we're in weird lands here. A lot of YouTubers can attract a bigger audience these days than the BBC. Most of the mainstream media are dead and totally irrelevant, said Paul Stenterford. Absolutely. We've got, I told the BBC, says Problem Being, where to stick their license. Now they don't bother me anymore. Yeah.
Hope they managed it.
Doing that.
And Sheila B in the Devotions is saying, Vintage TV on YouTube, watched the story with Patrick Troughton in it this afternoon. Totally new to me, The Loring Mystery. Troughton played Jasper Shrigg in this 1964 detective TV series. Yeah, a friend of mine saw that this afternoon and said, I didn't know Patrick Trout was in this.
Where was it on? Do you know where it was on?
It was on Vintage TV this afternoon.
All right, I'm going to have to look out for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be on again.
Yeah. I've just signed the petition, now up to 1.65 million. Take seconds, go do it, peeps, says Paul Rose. Don't know what you're talking about, mate, but thank you for that.
Wow.
But yes, lots of comments there from you all, everybody. But I thought that was very interesting. The BBC did actually respond, and I'm not going to go into it now because look at this. This was their response. BBC response to the National Audit Office's report from BBC Studios. The BBC welcomes recognition of the strong commercial performance and creative delivery of its primarily commercial subsidiary, BBC Studios. I'll highlight this for you. I'll leave it up there so you can come back and watch it all because we are well over time. But there we go here. Responding to the NAO's report into the economy, efficiency and effectiveness of BBC Studios, Tom Fussell, CEO of BBC Studios, said, we welcome the NAO's positive assessment of our business and its recognition that we have adapted our strategy and diversified our business in response to changing market conditions and audience behaviors. You don't know your audience. We're a trusted supplier of platform-defining shows to both the BBC and global streamers. We bring international audiences impartial, trusted news, and the best of British streaming through the world's biggest English language news website and our BritBox service. We're home to some of the world's most loved entertainment brands, from generational children's hit Bluey to established favourites Doctor Who and Strictly Come Dancing or Dancing with the Stars that touch the hearts of audiences around the world. This success gives us a strong foundation for our future growth ambitions, and we are grateful to the NAO for their recognition and recommendations. Now, in old sales parlance, that's called waffle.
Yes. Yeah.
Waffle. It's yes.
However, in the UK, didn't GB News this week beat Sky News and BBC News combined?
5 nights running, allegedly. I think it was 5 nights running, because that's where the BBC's ex-audience is going to, because we don't trust the BBC News. So they're talking about all that.
Tried to get them shut down before they started.
A year before they started. We know, well, we can allege that a lot of that oh, they're going to be really right wing, came from BBC staff. That's what I was hearing at the time, thinking, oh, yes, because you are worried, because you're so this way. So good for them if it's true. They continued, though. Look at this. BBC Studio comprises two main lines of business: content studio that makes and takes programs to UK, and then the international broadcasters and platforms and media and streaming that is home to a portfolio of channels, digital and streaming services, both in the UK and internationally. So there's all the details there. Okay. There was more to it here, which continued this. Major drivers include the successful transition to a commercial basis of the BBC's UK television production arm, producer of Strictly Come Dancing, Natural History Unit landmarks like Planet Earth and Blue Planet, EastEnders, The Weakest Link, Casualty, and The One Show. What? The acquisition of UK TV and premium scripted production companies, including Sherwood's House Productions, Extraordinary Sid Gentle Films, Baby Reindeer's Clerkenwell, the Jetty's Firebird Productions, and Happy Valley's Lookout Point, winning increased share of work for hire orders from global streamers with shows including Prehistoric Planet for Apple, Good Omens for Amazon, and Einstein and the Bomb for Netflix. The phenomenal success of Bluey, the most streamed show in the US, the formation of success of its global media and streaming business, the demand for its iconic brands amongst new generations of fans, that'll be Doctor Who, and multi-year customer partnerships. So are they saying now that the BBC is taking over all these other companies?
Surely not.
It's shocking, isn't it? It's ridiculous. But there we go. I don't know.
If they're acquiring all the independents, surely at some point they'd get referred to Monopolies and Mergers Commission.
Yeah,
you would think so. You would absolutely think so. Then there's this bit here. Response to the NEO specific recommendations, the BBC should review its published financial targets for BBC Studios. As part of the intended review of its commercial activities, the BBC should consider whether its December 2018 profit margin targets for BBC Studios of between 9 and 11% and its March 2021 target for returns to the BBC of 1.5 billion need updating in light of the significant changes to its business model and the market in which it operates in its future plans. BBC Studios continues to deliver against its challenging 2021 target of 1.5 billion returns to the BBC by 27-28. In line with the NAAO's recommendation and its charter and framework obligations, the BBC will review these targets to ensure that they are appropriate during this charter period. Oh, and then there's this. The BBC should ensure that BBC Studios' strategic plans for delivering the growth ambition and continue to evolve to reflect market developments. And it's the BBC returned, we welcome the NAO's highlighting of the risk presented by advertising production and the television market continue to change at pace. We will dynamically shape our plans to prevailing market conditions, and the publication of this report helpfully aligns with our business planning and forecasting process. That's what I call kissing arse. It's bizarre. This is really weird business, everybody. I don't know what you think about it. I think it's real weird business. And who'd have thought this from the BBC? You know, I prefer, call me old-fashioned, prefer the old days where it was all done from the donut.
Yeah.
So is that why they're borrowing all this money to buy all these IPs up and all these different companies and blah, blah, blah?
It must be. It must be. As Mark is saying to us here, BBC Studios needed 700 million. Now we know why. But why, Ian, would they be taking over all the independents? This explains why suddenly all the independents, I mean, we knew why you get a criteria if you are putting things together. Let's take All Creatures Great and Small. The BBC turned down All Creatures Great and Small, the new version of All Creatures Small, because they didn't feel it was diverse enough. Channel 5 took it because Channel 5 are not that insane. Huge hit. Huge hit for that production company who now work with Channel 5. But if the BBC took them over, All Creatures Great and Small would suddenly become, oh, you've got to have this many sheep, you've got to have this many donkeys, you've got to have, if you know what I'm saying.
And a proportion of the sheep would have to be black ones.
Yes.
Or trans.
Yes, actually identifying as a goat. Yeah, they would. I think that production company was the same ones that did the Yorkshire Vet for Channel 5 as well, which is based on the old vet surgery that was Heriot's in Thirsk anyway, and which used to be My Vets and soon will be again, and is very good. But yeah, they they backed an absolute blinder there, and the BBC were utterly stupid.
We are where we are.
They put their priorities, doesn't it? It shows where they put their priorities. They would actually turn down quality programming in preference to their message.
Yeah, totally. As Bloodcrab is here. So the BBC respond to an audit that they are failing to find a market by saying they are planning to chase the market. No, understand what the market is. Don't chase the trends. In a nutshell, Mudcrab, you've just said it there. This is what the problem is with the BBC now. They're so busy living the Islington, North London lifestyle that they've forgotten, in my opinion, the bigger picture here. Shocking, isn't it? It's absolutely shocking. And Pete Harrington is saying to us here, it's the racketeering beeb filling their pockets. Yeah. Mark Milford also saying to us, they turned down 40 million for every 10 episodes of New Who. If only they got it right, hey Mark, if only they'd done Doctor Who right and made it into a drama, they could have had a massive success. Pileo Clive is saying to us, All Creatures on C5 does have minimal diversity, but it's incidental. I can only imagine how right on the BBC's would be. The problem is, I know what you're saying, but you don't notice it. You don't notice it because it's not enforced. And it's done in the way that it's not, how can I say this? It's not detrimental to the whole thing because people have been around. It feels natural,
doesn't it?
It does, but people have been around since All Creatures Great and Small. So I'm going to talk about this as well. There is what I don't know what the current parlance is, and quite frankly, I don't care. But there's an autistic kid in it. We had autistic kids back then. You know, why wouldn't there be one in there? It doesn't take away from the bigger picture. It's not being shoehorned in. It's a family with an autistic kid who's learning life on the farm. That would have happened in Britain at the time.
Yeah.
Who cares? Yeah. So I agree with you, Palio. Yeah, but it still doesn't take away from the fact it's a fabulous drama. It's one of the only things I tend to watch on repeat television, just to make that very clear, or it's recorded for me. I love it. And I'm looking forward to their Christmas special more than I am the Doctor Who one.
It's very popular. It's very popular with a friend of mine who's a vet, and he trained with Harriet.
Wow.
Oh, well, that's why. So, wow. Well, hello to him.
He knows, you know, he's just does a little bit now because obviously he's retired from full time, but loves it. Absolutely loves it.
I love it too. It's just entertainment. It goes so quickly, the whole hour episode as well, because you're entertained. And you go, oh, it's starting. Oh, it finished. Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of thing. Whereas with Doctor Who, I found myself going, when is this going to end? When is it finished?
Checking your watch.
Oh my God.
Anybody ever on a trip wants to see where most of it was filmed? The village you're looking for is Grassington in North Yorkshire. That's where a large chunk of it is centred.
And it's beautiful as well. If you haven't seen Channel 5's, I know it's huge in America as well, just like Downton was. There was something else that did it properly. You know, mind you, that was before all the nonsense really kicked in. But yeah, Google it. So Clive calculated there's no virtue signaling in that show. Absolutely right. It's diverse as garbage in a normal, natural way. And look how many of us aren't complaining about it. How many of us are going, yeah, that's great. It's lovely because it doesn't matter. Yep. Thank you very much. And Mark Milford again saying that it was their amen to all this. Oh, imagine, says Carwin, if they remade Love Thy Neighbour now. I can't imagine the fallout.
I can, yeah.
And yet that was groundbreaking. And they should be very grateful to
it. At racism, didn't it? It poked fun from an equal aspect, both. It poked fun at the black guy digging at the white guy and the white guy digging at the black guy. It just highlighted how stupid it all was.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Pete Harrington, I'm with you with your comment here. I don't half miss those BBC Sunday serials, and I no longer go, but they were quality. And this is the thing. I'm finding them now all on these repeat channels who the BBC seem to own and are showing their own sort of their own programs again, which were all paid for by the license fee payers of the day, by the way. And they are far better than anything they're churning out now. There's no reality nonsense. There's no alleged celebrities. There's no upstart people coming in from wherever they come from. Now can't be done with it all. Proper trained actors, and it's great to see some of our lot, like a young Peter Davison will turn up every now and then. Oh yeah, here we go. There you go.
Yeah.
Sunday serials are certain Barry Letts, weren't they?
Oh yeah. And Terence, they took turns, didn't they?
Yeah,
they took turns. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Again, it's going to be part of our look at what you asked us to look at is, JT, are you sure that Bad Wolf and the BBC studios can afford Doctor Who without Disney? That was a query I had from a couple of you. This is part of that whole ongoing thing we're going to be looking at, because I'm now turning around to the answer. I don't think they can. I think they do need that third party, whether it be Disney or somebody else. However, we'll soon find out. And yeah, just to round us all off for the "and finally" now, everybody, are you excited? Because Christmas is on the way, isn't it? As part of the 23rd of November's Doctor Who Day, as we now call it. Bloody hell, more marketing, bad marketing as well. Yesterday, BBC Studio released a series of photographs from the up-and-coming Christmas special. Did you see them? Here we go. Here's a picture of Shooty with Nicola Coughlan as Joy, and of course, the Silurian that we all knew was coming back in a clip. Shooty,
the comedy Silurian as well, yeah.
It's going to be that. He's probably gay or
probably a Silurian, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, God.
A Silurian, did you say there, Ian? Yes.
Yeah. Bye.
And please note as well, Shooty is not crying in this.
Not
He's got
yet.
ordinary fingernails, look, as well. He doesn't even have claws. He's got ordinary fingernails, that Silurian, look.
Lazy.
Reptilian.
Still don't like that design. Here's another one. Yep, there's the tumbleweed going past everybody, I can tell.
He's got really baggy trousers on, hasn't he?
These are flares.
Are the flares?
Walking in like Cinderella, isn't he, with his other hand out, like.
Yeah. I thought they were like Oxford bag type trousers, with the big baggy trousers.
They are huge, big, baggy trousers, but they are flared at the bottom because apparently that is the thing. That's the in thing. The trousers are a mix of Troughton and Tom Baker, by the way. They are that sort of classic check that the doctor would wear. And let's have a big hurrah for something, shall we? Because the braces are back, everybody. Whee!
Hooray! He looks like he's wearing his pajamas, though, doesn't he? As well.
It is bizarre because in these two pictures, I think personally, you can see a bit of close-up of the check on the trousers there. But I think in that picture and the previous picture there, the outfit again resembles more of a doctor I would expect.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you guys think in the chat as well? But that's more what I would expect from a doctor. Do you know what I mean?
You just want somebody to twang the braces and twat the prep right into the back of the room.
Yeah, really hard. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but there you go. So Peter Harrington's saying there's Simon Cowell pants, allegedly. And we didn't have flared trousers like that in the 70s, did we? We did. We did. I know, because I was wearing them. Thanks, Mum. She was very.
I've not seen the Cybermen or Revenge of the Cybermen, no.
Exactly. Other things that came out this weekend as part of the pre-Christmas push, as I call it, to let everybody know nobody's care anyway, that this thing is coming on Christmas Day, of course, as we now know, on BBC, iPlayer and Disney all at the same time. That hasn't been released yet, but let's see what it's going to be. Let's see what it's going to be. Could the BBC have put their foot down? Who knows? But as part of this, BBC Studios social media for Doctor Who also showed this at the weekend. Did you see this, everybody? This is interesting, isn't it? Is it? I'll tell you what this is about. This is the Casio, according to the press release, Casio and Doctor Who countdown to Christmas with a limited edition gift package. Give the gift of time this Christmas. I should be paid for this bit, by the way. Two fan favorites, Casio and BBC Studios Doctor Who, have teamed up to create a limited edition gift package for the iconic gold A159 watch to coincide with Doctor Who's up-and-coming and eagerly anticipated Christmas special, Joy to the World! Da, da, da! Yes, this is it here. This limited edition package comes with bespoke Doctor Who Christmas-themed box sleeve, a free TARDIS pin badge, and promotional contents linked to this year's Doctor Who Christmas special. No one's buzzed yet, like in Sale of the Century, so I'll keep going. Yeah. To make this moment even more memorable, Casio will be hosting a competition to win a bundle of Catch Them If You Can watches and exclusive Doctor Who kit. You can enter via the Casio UK website or by scanning the QR code inside the watch box. Warren Halliwell, content and campaign manager, Casio UK, commented, "We are so excited for this collaboration. Two icons coming together feels like the perfect way to kick off the festive celebrations." Vanessa Hamilton, Doctor Who brand director, BBC Studios, commentated, We commented, "We are thrilled to team up with Casio ahead of the Christmas special episode and look forward to seeing the limited edition packages under trees this Christmas."
Don't hold your breath.
So if you buy a watch, you can get in the box and scan a QR code to enter a competition to win a watch that you've bought the watch to enter the competition to win the watch that doesn't have any Doctor Who branding on it and is just a bloody watch.
And why is this? Is the actual watch in the episode? Where's the tie-in? I mean, this is again is something.
Are they allowed to do that?
It's
Actually,
so tacky,
yes,
isn't it? It's just so tacky.
It is. It seems tacky, but yes, they can. This is BBC Studios, the commercial arm. So yes, they can do these sorts of third-party presentations. It's new for Doctor Who. They may have done it for other shows. I don't know, but it's a form of. It's a brand new form of advertising, really. Here, isn't it? Saying we are partnering up with Casio to bring you Doctor Who fans an exclusive Casio watch.
It's desperate, that.
Yeah.
Which Paul Stenterford is saying reminds me of the one I owned in 1985. You know,
you won't remember this 12 months down the line, but you still remember the product placement Sugar Puffs in Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD.
Yeah. But, you know...
and we all still love Weetabix as well, obviously.
Are we all rushing out to buy this, though? I'd love to know. How many of you are buying this? How shallow and soulless, says Paul Richards. Garbage wants to know, is Del Boy selling that watch? What, mate? Yeah,
looks like it, yeah.
I had that watch back in the 70s, says Rick Storm, and like Doctor Who, it was better back then. Stephen Braddock, buy this old tack gammons. We love you, really, suckers. Again, another example. They don't know the audience anymore. They can't decide who the show's for, because that's obviously aimed at all of us. Are we going to go buy this classic Casio piece? It looks like a nice watch, but no, I'm not going to watch it because they've told me not to bother with Doctor Who. They don't want us there. So no, I won't be buying it.
What we're going to get next is a gift set of Old Spice with Doctor Who on the logo. That'd be nice.
Well, I am actually hoping that we might get a Doctor Who partnership for a lovely, lovely hostess trolley.
Very nice. Yeah,
I'd love to
Their
see them.
preferred audience won't buy that watch because most of them probably can't tell the time.
Because written on the phones, you see, that's where I can tell it that way, right?
Yeah.
It's digital. That might
Alexa,
help.
what time is it?
Yeah.
I didn't.
My Alexa's just told me the time.
Call me ignorant if you like, but I didn't even realize that Casio were around, because it's not a watch I would go for. If it's not one I would see. It's not. Mine's Scargan. Well, I go for Scargan. I love the Scargan watches. That's mine. It's not even a cool pocket watch, says Nibbles. There are lots and lots of comments from you all in the chat about this particular one. Whatever next? The Mickey Mouse TARDIS. You may joke.
We've had that.
It's a limited edition box, Julianne makes clear. The watch is just the regular Casio model. It's true, because there's nothing assigned to Doctor Who with it at all.
Tatty and desperate.
Carwin is saying to us, if they had Sylvester's digital fob watch, I might give that a look. They did try that back in the Wilderness years, remember, but it was just too late. However, are you buying that? Are you interested in it? Doesn't look like it either. But did you see there's one other thing that you might be interested in, everybody, that was announced this weekend for the Doctor Who 61st anniversary? And yes, it's our old favourite, Build-A-Bear. Now, this is going to be hilarious for you because, again, here's the press release, everybody. Build-A-Bear have expanded their line of Doctor Who products to include the current 15th Doctor era. Stand by your beds, everybody. I know you're so excited about all of this. You can now create your own 15th Doctor teddy bear thanks to Build-A-Bear. There are a number of options for anyone who wants a little cuddly shooty gatwer to bring home with them. The standard option is a bear that comes, I'm sure people have been there. The standard option is a bear that comes fully dressed in the most familiar of this Doctor's many outfits, which he wore in the church on Ruby Road. The Doctor also comes complete with a soft play version of the latest sonic screwdriver in blue and gold. Beneath the costume, the Doctor Who bear has some special features distinct from a regular Build-A-Bear, where most bears have Stop it. Where most bears have the familiar heart motif on their chest, this Dr. Bear has two overlapping hearts instead, featuring the diamond logo. The diamond logo also appears on the base of his left foot. If you're giving the 15th Dr. Bears a present, then you can select an option to include a TARDIS-themed gift box. Alternatively, you can buy both bear and costume separately. So if you already have a bear ready to slip into a new Time Lord look, you can simply get the costume. Similarly, it might be the Doctor Who branding on the bear that appeals to you rather than the costume. In that case, you can get him by himself.
Well, I
The
would like
packaging
Shooty to
box,
get
though, is
stuffed.
Sorry?
I would like Shooty to get stuffed, admittedly.
you
Sorry,
have a
Paul.
lot of fun trying to get him in the box because the box is too small for the toy, isn't it?
It's just
head
simply
off.
far away.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah, okay.
Heaven's sake, he never listens to the robots of death, does he?
Give it to the dogs; they'll rip the head off straight away. It'll be fine.
Yeah,
Well,
I
Looks
will
like
do
it's
that. Yeah,
carrying a baby, doesn't it? Is that like supposed to be the Christmas message? It's carrying the baby Jesus.
it does look like a baby. Yeah, yeah.
Screwdriver, isn't it? But it does look
Yeah.
like the yes, it does look like
Has
the
he
baby.
got? Has he got slip-on shoes on or something? It's
Yeah.
just really weird.
Yeah, it's a little trainer. Now,
One's like a platform shoe for his clubbed
yeah.
foot.
I have to say at this point, everybody, and this is the bit that made me laugh. This is an American exclusive for now.
Oh, really? Right.
But they've added, it will hopefully be added to the UK site soon. So you can only get this in the country that has overwhelmingly rejected Doctor Who. For now, the Build-A-Bear 15th Doctor appears to be exclusive to American fans, as it's not available on the co.uk site, at least when we checked. The release says, hopefully, though, it will be added to that soon, though it does seem Santa will only be available. Santa, it's all Santa these days. Father Christmas will only be able to leave them under the trees in North America in time for Christmas. The standard
You lucky
15th
North Americans, you. Yeah.
The standard 15th Doctor Build-A-Bear, it's like the 5 Doctors all over again. I'm really annoyed. The standard 15th Doctor Build-A-Bear will retail for $68.50. Sorry, $68.50. To include the TARDIS gift box, it's $73.50, while prices to buy the bear and costume separately are $32 and $36.50, respectively. There's also still a range of other Doctor Who items available, including the 4th and the 10th incarnations, and you can even get that awful K9. Well, there you go. So, yeah, if you are anywhere out with the UK, anywhere out with the USA, sorry, tough to you. You can't get this if you are in the USA, and we all know just how much of a hit Doctor Who has been there this year, especially with this incumbent Doctor. You can go and get your Shooty Gatwa Build-A-Bear now.
These are going to go like hotcakes, aren't they? Yeah.
Going to go like hot something. Hot something, I tell you. But there you are. You're also impressed with that. Peter Venkman fan site saying, I'm sure, I really hope no one hates me that much. Wow, what a rip-off, says poor Rose. It's almost like they're following Mel Brooks, the producers, as a guide, says Komodo. That's quite good. I never took my kids to Build-A-Bear. I hated that shop. They're garbage. I always try to walk past them as quickly as possibly I can. Yeah, I'm sure that's racist, says Mark Milford. I just have to wait to be told why. And there's lots of this. Why?
Well, they've sent all their lefty celebrities over here, haven't they? We should really return the favour and send some shit over there.
Yeah.
Paleo, you are naughty. Let's replace Shooty in the series with that animated bear. It might be more entertaining. Yeah, you could do a sort of Paddington thing, couldn't you? Paddington 3 has been a huge hit, by the way.
Convey more emotion, wouldn't it?
Well, certainly, yeah.
If you really
more
hate
gravitas.
If you really hate someone, says Stephen Braddock, buy them 2. There you go. Misstep, another misstep there. Again, licensing. They were all absolutely determined that this was going to be a massive hit, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They really were. Oh, there we go. Dark Hall, nice to see you a lot as well, saying Dr. Pooh. Dr. Pooh. Well, there you go. If you want it, you want it, but I don't think many of us on this channel do we, everybody? Well, that's it for headlines this week. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope we've opened some cans of worms for you there to think about. I hope you're currently counting those worms as well. That'll keep you occupied until we are back on Wednesday here on Who's Views, live at 8 o'clock with the viewer's choice for Who's Views reviews, Dalek Invasion of Earth. If you haven't had time to go and watch it yet, go and get it from wherever you're going to get it. Remember, always get the hard copies, get the DVDs as much as you possibly can very quickly, and come and join us for our review of Dalek Invasion of Earth, which was chosen by you. Thank you very much for joining us. The third Dr. Ian to Paul, oh no, not again. Yes, I hope you've enjoyed tonight's show as well. Thank you so much as ever for joining me for this, our 300th Whose Views show. Isn't that amazing?
Here to the next 300.
Oh, God, I'm knackered already. But yes, if you have enjoyed the show, please give us a thumbs up. Put your comments down there. It is great to see you all. You have made it. You have made these shows so vibrant and energetic and exactly what I wanted with Whose Views. It's Whose Views. That means all of us. And thank you so much for being part of the show. You are so important to us. And I'm not just saying that. You really are. I really, really am delighted with where we're going. Stay with us, though, because you know, as soon as they drop a headline, we're going to be talking about it here on the show. From Third Dr. Ian, from Paul, from me, please like, please subscribe, please make sure you're still subscribed, and we will see you again very soon on the channel. Until then, ta-ra, see you again.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.